Original, Jack Fire, and Jack Honey, all for $3 off. And step up your game with Gentleman Jack 750 milliliters for $2 off. Celebrate responsibly. Whiskey Specialty, 7% ABV. Jack Daniel Distillery, Lynchburg, Tennessee. Jack Daniel's and Old Number 7 are registered trademarks of Jack Daniel's Properties, Inc. Coca-Cola is a trademark of the Coca-Cola Company.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio, 103.9 FM.
Bucks County officials are mourning the death of a beloved county employee who was killed with his two sons on Amtrak train tracks. Spark Therapeutics, a pioneer in gene therapy, is cutting more than half its workforce from its University City headquarters, and voting is underway to select a permanent location for the Philadelphia Portal.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio, now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Piazza Auto Group Studios, experience the power of one with 8 brands and 25 locations. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Don't miss the Labor and Energy Show with J-Doc and Krause. Brought to you by the Labor and Energy Alliance this Saturday night at 6. Find out about the important issues that will affect you. The Labor and Energy Show, Saturday night at 6 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-536-9607. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-536-9607 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-536-9607 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-536-9607.
This is McGruff the Crime Dog with an important message. Before you think about buying counterfeit products, think again. You're smart, buy smart. Go for real. Learn more at mcgruffpsa.org. This message is brought to you by the United States Patent and Trademark Office and the National Crime Prevention Council.
WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios, powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Live and local with Matt Rooney on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Do my aging eyes deceive me? Or is that the legendary Daniel Valdez in the producing booth this evening?
Don't get so excited.
Listen, there comes a point in life where you have to be excited if people are excited to see you, because it's not a given anymore. When you're in preschool, you walk into your preschool classroom, everybody's giving everybody hugs, wiping their boogies on each other. As time goes on, it gets a little bit harder to find people that are genuinely willing to put themselves out there and show respect and affection, particularly in a public forum.
I didn't get a hug or my boogies or your boogies put on me, so I don't know if we should arrange that or if that's coming in the mail. I don't know, but I was kind of excited for that, but I didn't get it.
Well, good news, little
guy. I got
guy.
You walking in at 5 minutes before the show happened. You're like, let's go. I'm like, okay.
Well, we've got 3 hours.
That's
and it's allergy season, so plenty of time for me to make all your wishes come true. Good evening and greetings, by the way, to everyone that tuned in the old-fashioned way, the new old-fashioned way, to another stirring edition of The Matt Rooney Show, your number one radio show on the weekend in the universe. That is a Matt Rooney Show survey that was conducted with my own personal funds. Do not ask to see the results. Just take my word for it. You can take my word for just about anything I say on this program. I would never lie to you. That's not my goal. My goal is to prepare you for the week ahead by reviewing what matters from the week gone by. And along the way, we laugh, we cry, we keep each other standing upright. We have a good time. That much I can also promise you. Let's talk about how you can get in on tonight's program, because it's a whopper. 855-839-1210. That is the number. if you wish to call in and participate. Producer Dan is back. Justin Otero is out this week, so keep this in mind. He's very stingy. It's got to be good, and we're working on a limited time frame tonight, and I'll explain more in a moment why that is in case you've forgotten. You can
Forgore.
You forgore?
You forgore.
You forgorten?
You forgore.
Forgorten?
No, Forgor. Forgore.
Forgore?
Forgore.
Oh, I thought you were doing a Swedish Chef impression.
No. Nope, just forgore.
Okay, forgore. You can also check us out over on YouTube. YouTube.com/@1210WPHT. You can give us a like if you're feeling generous. You can confirm that I am indeed as handsome as I sound, and you can mix it up with the rest of the Rooney Show audience in the chat, where things are always interesting, usually a little salty, not unusually off topic, but just like the Muppets, they're lovable weirdos, and we appreciate having them with us every week. And I see Mangle Mush. Hello, Mangle Mush. Chris is there. Hello, Chris. Suze loves Jeffy, waving right back at you. Little jazz hands there. It's the home kick nanny. I think that's new, but it is Rooney Tooney.
It's not. It's Dahomey Kenny.
Dahomey Kenny?
Yeah.
See,
what, do you not know how to read?
See, no.
You're a lawyer, right? You don't know how to read?
No, I don't. No, I'm from that island of misfit toys in Rudolph. You know, there's the boat that can't float, the train with square wheels. I'm the lawyer that can't read. Just waiting for Santa Claus to drop me off someplace.
That's the lawyer I trust, especially if I'm getting a divorce. I want people to read my divorce papers, but you and what does that say? It's you, right?
Well, I'm representing Bella anyway, so she's the one that's going to have to suffer for it.
I thought of a word that I can't say on air, but in my mind, I'm thinking it.
Won't be the last time tonight. Every show, there comes a point where I think of something that I can't say on air. It's just the way.
You can. It's just
the way it works.
You can. It's just no one's going to hear it.
Yeah. Also, a reminder, you can now check out the brand new Matt Rooney podcast. That's right. We've only been talking about this podcast now for, I don't think Dan was legal to vote when we first started plotting this thing, but it is now finally on the 1210 station page.
I was here when it was an idea, a little thought, a little
nugget.
As they say in the medical terms, a little sperm. Okay?
An idea. Okay. All right. Well, that's quite an image.
Heyo.
So we don't need to identify the egg.
And
let's leave that there.
After a brief hiatus, it's now here.
So you can go over to our station page, right? And you can find it, odyssey.com/1210WPHT. And it's right there along with Dom Giordano's podcast and Rich Zioli and Kale and Company and all your other faves here at the station. So if you miss anything tonight and tomorrow you are jogging or you're at work or you're stuck in traffic or you're taking a long bath and you just want to hear my melodious voice to help you get into the mood, you have the opportunity to use the podcast now. You are welcome. All right, let's get down to business here. Gmail says, by the way, over on YouTube, new logo, new shirt, new Fisher-Price camera. Rooney's moving up. That's right.
Now the logo's been here, but when I got in today, it was just it was a black box. So I guess they moved stuff over. Yeah. They didn't tell me any of this.
But it looks good.
And I had to re-find it. But no, it's been a thing for a couple months. I don't know if I don't know if Justin used it or not.
Yeah, and then the Matt Rooney Show logo for the podcast, which is a microphone with my luscious locks, my hair, and then my glasses. That was created by my homegirl, Alex Wilkes. Alex Wilkes, I guess a couple years ago. But now they've kind of taken it and they've made it neon, and it's very white. It pops.
It's fine. I made the Kale and Company one, and they took that without me. So
yeah. But I like it. It's like Gandalf the gray, Gandalf the white. It's like Rooney the white. I return to you at the turn of the tide. A refresh version. It's cool. Yeah. So that's all the ways you can get on the program tonight. But let's talk about what's on the actual program. A little bit of a different format tonight. We're going to try this a few more times in the coming week because New Jersey's gubernatorial primary is mere weeks away. So I'm making it my mission, as I always do, self-appointed, to inform you. Remember, one of the guiding principles of the Matt Rooney Show is we don't tell you what to think. We give you the information you need to learn how to think for yourselves.
No, you tell us.
I tell you, but that's different. You need
That's
instruction.
a hypocrite. Can't
You
do
need
that.
a firm hand.
You're right. Continue.
So that we usually have Republicans on this program, and it's not because we're not willing to speak to Democrats, but let's face it, I'm a conservative. I'm an America First guy, and the left in 2025 isn't much for conversation. You try to explain your preferred education policy, they say that you're a bigot. You talk to them about wanting to maybe have a country with borders, this crazy notion that maybe a country should have defined boundaries, and that makes you a xenophobe. You suggest that maybe there's only two genders. You're a discriminatory monster. So it's very hard to get to the point where you can have that productive discourse with our friends on the left. So that's how it ends up working out. But I've always said for the longest time that I am always willing, open, able to have a debate, a discussion, whatever, with someone on the left. Occasionally we get some callers. Dan always pushes them to the front of the line, and we're happy to go in deep with them on just about any topic, like our friend from San Francisco who used to call in and call me a funky liar. Very San Fran. But tonight we're going to do something different. We do have a Democrat coming on this program, and he is one of the leading Democrat candidates for governor in New Jersey this year. Mayor Steven Fulop. He is mayor of Jersey City, which is the second largest municipality in the Great Garden State. He just announced his lieutenant governor running mate, a little different. Usually candidates wait until they win the nomination to do that, but he's trying to shake things up in that race, which has several candidates and no clear front runner. I guess you could say it's Mikey Sherrill at this point, but that's debatable. When there's no county lines anymore and they're all spending a ton of money, a lot of uncertainty. So we're looking forward to talking to Steve Fulop a little bit later in the program in the 8 o'clock hour. Dan has taken all of the advertising and done what he did with his magic so that we can have a straight-up conversation with the good mayor about the race, get a little bit of his background, and also get into some of the issues. I'm not planning on ambushing this guy, by the way. Some of you have been sending me questions. I'm sure we're going to disagree, but I want to have a real conversation. I genuinely, truly want to get in the head of someone that has, in many respects, a polar opposite worldview from my own. I think that there's value in it. But I will say this, Dan, we are going to take questions from the listeners and the viewers on YouTube.
Yes, so
explain that.
If anyone has any questions, because I know every time we have a lot of callers or a lot of important people on the show, I usually get a lot of questions on YouTube. So this time, courtesy of my idea, I actually brought it up to Matt.
Was your idea?
It was. I said, hey, let's get the listeners in on this. And so if you have questions, you can put them in the YouTube chat, or you can tweet at Matt or myself, and I will put them in a queue. And then towards the end of the interview, probably about the last 15, 20 minutes, I will just run them down, and I will ask them. So that's how it is. If you want to, also, I will probably say who it's from. If you want it to be anonymous, just let me know. But other than that, submit your questions. I'll have them written down.
And most of you don't use your real name on YouTube anyway, so the problem is kind of...
Yeah, like my username's like Jehovah's Witness, like 24, so...
Didn't you knock on my door yesterday?
No, that was me in a Mormon suit.
Oh, that was you in your Mormon suit?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not clean shaven enough, though.
Did I look good in a white button-down and a black tie, though?
Did you look good in a white button-down and a black tie?
That's a trick question.
No, it washes you out. You need a little bit of color.
Okay.
You're 1/8 Hispanic.
Yep.
So you need to pump that up a little bit. Play into your strengths, brother. So very full program this evening. We're going to try to fit in as much as we can in the 7 o'clock and 9 o'clock hours. And then our 8 o'clock hour will be my questions for Mayor Fulop and some of yours too. Again, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. I'll also, during the break, throw it up on the SaveJersey.com page as well. So there's maximum ways for you to be able to find this thing. Okay. Let's get on with the rest of the program, Daniel. Unless you have something else that you want to share, because you've been on a field trip for about a month.
I did see the Hawk Tuah girl in the airport.
No.
Yes.
Did you really?
I did. I was flying home from Nashville. Okay. So my flight out of Nashville was 7 o'clock at night, but our event ended at like 12. We were out of the room by 12. So I was on 2 different standby flights. I was on a 2:48 and like a 5-something. So I was at the airport at 1 o'clock. So I was at the airport for 6 hours. Fun fact, I'm 0 for 2 in those standby flights. So I went to the first one thinking that I was going to get something, and I was 2 away. I was about to get on it, and then I see the last 2 people running. They were like, I was at the wrong gate. I was like, okay. So then I was like, cool. But that was also the gate that I saw the Hawk Tuah girl. So I look back, because I just check my surroundings occasionally, and I see some girl that looks really familiar, and I'm like, why does she look familiar? And I was like, oh, that's the Hawk Tuah girl. And then I just went about my merry day. And then I went to my other gate for my other standby flight.
That was a disappointing end of the story.
She was like boarding last on the plane. I didn't want to take up her time. I really don't care about her. So.
Probably off somewhere to start her next cryptocurrency company.
She was going to New York.
Yeah.
That was it. That's the most exciting story. I did go to Broadway. That was pretty cool.
You did go to Broadway. Have you ever been to Broadway before?
I have not been to Broadway, but that was a pretty cool time.
Dan Cerrucci's going to be so proud of you.
Yeah, it was. I didn't think I was going to get there, but
Vagina Monologues, I'm guessing.
What?
Did you go see the Vagina Monologues?
No.
That's what I just assumed that's what you'd be going to see.
No, we didn't.
You don't even know what the Vagina Monologues are, do you?
Nope.
Oh, God, you're so young. You're so young.
I didn't think I was going to get there in time, but I got out of there. I think we left like 9 o'clock on a Thursday, and boy, it was packed. But it was a good time.
Yeah.
It's probably the highlight of my trip, though. I saw the Hawk Tuah girl.
Yeah. Well, that's a major celebrity.
Yeah.
Right? That's what passes for fame in 2025. Making a drunken comment in the street about
I don't even think he was drunk.
You don't think so?
No.
That's just who she is. I mean, I don't know her. For the record.
Yeah, I don't.
Especially if Mrs. Rooney's listening, I don't know the Hawk Tuah girl. I've never been in an airport with her. Nowhere near her.
That was my eventful 6-hour flight, or my successful.
Well, that's huge.
Informal 6-hour airport time.
That's huge. No, well, we're glad to have you back. Obviously, you were missed. Justin Otero was here, as always, does a great job. He's much nicer than you, but there is no replacement for Dan Valdez. And you even managed to pull together Twit Talk for this evening, which we'll get to before the end of the program. You had a little bit of difficulty.
There was a lot of difficulty, but yeah, I did it. So I'm sorry if it's different. It'll probably be back to normal.
Santa Claus at Christmas, the United States Postal Service, and Dan Valdez with Twit Talk. They will happen, rain, shine, hurricane, blizzard.
I was getting frustrated. I was about to punch my fist through the computer, but I didn't.
Which would be very Twit Talky if you
it would be a little,
put it up on TikTok.
A little Twit Talky. So if it's different, I apologize. Not that anyone wants it to be different, because I know it's the most beloved segment that we have, but it'll be back next week.
Yeah, for those of you that are new to the program, and apparently we have new people coming on all the time, I get complaints about this segment. I have actually run into people in South Jersey that listen to this show that say, oh, you know what, I really enjoyed the program, and it was pretty good last week, like that interview. You and Dan are funny, but the whole Twit Talk thing, I don't get it. Which is the polite way of saying that they don't like something, that they don't understand it, right? So it's not for everyone, but we try to test you around here. We have a lot of faith in our audience, and if you can survive Twit Talk, you can survive anything. That's how I choose to look at it anyway. That's my moral justification for allowing Dan to subject you all to it. So very, very busy program tonight. We're going to try to get to as much as we can before Mayor Fulop joins us next hour, including I have to get some stuff off my chest regarding the tariff debate, which is unfolding across our beautiful country tonight as we speak. And, of course, we're going to touch on some other topics, too. More content than the CDC says is safe to consume in one single program. But we're going to do it anyway here on the Matt Rooney Show. Again, one more time, youtube.com/@1210 WPHT. Let's take a timeout, and we'll be back to kick off the show in earnest in just a few moments.
Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
See Joe Conklin this summer on the Ocean City Boardwalk with the City Rhythm Orchestra, Saturday, July 12th. It's Philly sports put to music. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com. joeconklin.com!
President Trump is making New Jersey safer, securing the border and deporting dangerous criminals. And he's getting no help from Phil Murphy and Trenton Democrats. I'm Jack Chittarelli. That all changes when I'm governor. On day one, we'll end Murphy's sanctuary state and ban sanctuary cities. We'll work with ICE and take the handcuffs off our police to keep our communities safe. It's time Trenton Democrats realize we need to protect our communities. When I'm governor, we will.
Paid for by Chitter Lily for Governor Inc., 99 Gray Rock Road, Suite 202, Clinton, New Jersey.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Have you subscribed to our YouTube channel yet?
Not yet.
Do it today.
Okay.
At 1210 WPHT.
WPHT.
Loving you is a dirty job, Daniel. By the way, first song you played in about 6 months that I recognized immediately, outside of our Christmas episode.
Yeah, I found it when I was in Nashville, and I was like, good song.
Yeah.
Little rat.
Hey, you know what? Maybe you going to Nashville was a really good thing for the program.
Yeah,
maybe we'll get someone more normal music.
Maybe having about a whole month off just really did something. Yeah.
Dan's now a country fan, everyone.
Oh, God, no.
What do you got against country?
I just don't no. It's all the same stuff.
I felt that way when I was a kid. So we're going back to the 80s, 90s, right? It was very twangy stuff. You know, don't break my heart, my achy, breaky heart, like that kind of country. Wasn't too appealing. I think it's evolved quite a bit since then.
Although I will say, Nashville, Broadway, obviously bars everywhere, all up and down the road. Wide variety of music that was going on.
Yeah, I got to make it to Nashville.
It wasn't just country. Like, it was country, it was rock, there was a little bit of pop music going on. So there's a wide variety. And each bar had like 3 different bands in it. So
yeah,
wide variety.
Thanks for the invite.
If I was going myself, I would have, but I was not going myself.
Would have been nice. Who am I kidding? I don't have a life.
You stayed at the Gaylord.
Is that where you stayed?
Yeah.
You just wanted to say Gaylord, didn't you?
Yeah, a little bit.
Never change, Daniel. 855-839-1210, the number here on the Matt Rooney Show. I mean, really, what else is there to talk about, right? The tariff apocalypse has dominated the news cycle since the end of last week. President Trump, of course, announcing his reciprocal tariffs. It's times like this where you understand that, and you appreciate the fact that Americans are balkanized by their politics, and there are some people that don't even hear the news. They don't read the news. They don't actually digest what has just been announced, in this case, reciprocal tariffs. They just react based upon whether it's the red team guy or the blue team guy that said it. And in this case, as Donald Trump himself has pointed out, he could announce tomorrow a cure for cancer. And that cure for cancer would receive no praise from the leftists who, going back now to 2016, have convinced themselves that he is the great Satan. So now Donald Trump has announced his most ambitious program of either term, the first term or this relatively new second term in office, to restructure the world financial order. It's arguably the most ambitious program, domestic program, that a president has tried, imposing tariffs on goods coming into our country since, well, I guess it's not a domestic plan, right? Because we're talking about overseas. I was going to compare it to the Marshall Plan, right? When we rebuilt Europe in the wake of World War II. The scope is that sweeping, and the potential to realign how financial markets work across the globe. It's hard to wrap your mind around. And, of course, in the interim, there's going to be some dislocation. There's going to be a little bit of discomfort from time to time. The stock market's going to swing wildly. I'll tell you what's ticking me off right out of the gate. Let's set the substance.
Yeah, what grinds your gears, Matthew?
Tell me, this is what twists my panties, Daniel.
Oh, really twist them.
To twist them on up,
yeah.
Right? What grinds my gears, twists my panties, twirls my mustache, is the fact that you have so many Democrat voters out there and so many leftists who have been telling us back to the Obama era that their goal was to fundamentally transform the United States of America, right? That's what they said they wanted to do. That's what Barack Obama said he wanted to do. And the reason why they wanted to fundamentally transform the United States of America is they believe that our country is fundamentally and institutionally corrupt and racist and doesn't give a fair shake to the working class, right? That's Democrat orthodoxy in a cute little nutshell right there. You don't have to know too much else about them other than what I just articulated for you here on the air. So they want to burn the system down, right? I mean, that's the goal of Antifa, right? Which is kind of the official sporting team of the left. They don't like this country. They want to see the table overturned. They want to see capitalism upended. And yet, now, when Donald Trump does the most aggressive thing that any president has done in our lifetime to change the system that they believe is fundamentally unfair, they're freaking out. They're absolutely losing their minds. First, they were burning Teslas over what I thought was the relatively uncontroversial concept of like, hey, maybe we shouldn't be wasting money, right, on Stacey Abrams' organization and transgender mice and a lot of other things that even if you somehow could fashion an argument for them, they're inarguably not that important when Americans are having trouble affording food and medicine, right, and their mortgage payments. So first they were flipping out over that. Now they're losing their mind over Donald Trump challenging the entrenched world order that Democrats have been telling us for years they hate. And I don't want to bore you with the same things that you've seen during the week on other radio programs, right? I mean, we have the audio of Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and plenty of other Democrats criticizing the current state of global trade that now suddenly they believe is an unimpeachable institution. How dare the orange man tinker with it, right? But, I mean, that's the part of it, to use your phraseology, Dan, is really ticking me off as I watch all of this. Because it's okay to disagree, but hypocrisy, naked hypocrisy, makes it a lot harder to have a productive conversation. It outs the left once again. It's not really about their objections to what Donald Trump is doing, these reciprocal tariffs. It's their objection to him. It's their objection to the Republican Party and the Trump coalition and MAGA and America First and the people that they don't like who have flags on the back of their pickup trucks and believe in kooky old-fashioned things like God and the nuclear family, right? That's what they're objecting to. It's never the policy. It's never the substance in almost all circumstances. The only thing they really believe in substantively is abortion and now transing children. That's a new entry to the core central Democrat canon. Consider this as well. Not only are Democrats losing their mind over trade policies that some of them not all that long ago considered completely logical, but Donald Trump is already succeeding. There are multiple countries that have already reached out to the White House, according to news reports over the weekend, to structure bilateral agreements with the president. Part of the challenge right now is we have this one-size-fits-all program, right? Where we have the same trade policies that are applied to whole blocks of countries. Well, that obviously doesn't work. And one of the reasons it doesn't work is one size does not fit all, and it allows a lot of people to cheat us. And we become a country of middle managers with liberal arts degrees. Students come out of college with certificates that they paid $90,000 or more for in Eastern handpan music and women's studies and other useless things. And they get a job where they work mostly remote from home, and they watch Netflix, and they drink Starbucks coffee on the couch for $10 a cup while they're hanging out with their dog and just making sure their laptop is logged in so their employer doesn't notice that they're not working. That's the economy that the current trading regime has built for us. And it's okay in the short run because we have cheap goods, but it doesn't last forever. And it doesn't last forever for two reasons. One, because the working class is hollowed out, right? You have people that are flipping cheeseburgers. You have people that are in upper and higher management, but that middle class worker that had a factory job, a trades job, they no longer have employment. You can't have a building with a hollow center. It structurally doesn't work. It's eventually going to collapse in upon itself. There's also another problem with that kind of an economy. What happens if eventually we do need to fight a war? Joe Biden did his darndest to try to get us into World War III. How are we going to defeat China if we have to buy all of our steel and our bullets from China? How does that work? Someone explain that to me. You have to have a manufacturing base. Otherwise, you're not a superpower. And you can't act like one. You can't defend yourself when the time finally comes. But listen, you don't have to take my word for it. Listen to our intrepid Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, who joined, I think he was on Meet the Press this weekend. I don't watch any of the Sunday programs. I just look at the clips because I can't stand the interviewing. Oh, actually, I take that back. This particular clip is from the Tucker Carlson program.
Which clip is it? Because there's some that I don't have because I ran out of time, and there's some that I do.
So do you have 7?
Yeah, it's actually the one I just pulled. That's the last one I have.
Siete.
Yeah.
Yes. Perfect.
But there is no video.
That's fine.
There is no video.
So those of you watching on YouTube, I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. It's not Dan's fault. There was a software problem. But they can hear, right?
Yes.
All right, so listen up. He explains it obviously much better than I can because he's much smarter.
I'm not happy with what's going on in the market today, but the distribution of equities across households, the top 10% of Americans own 88% of equities, 88% of the stock market. The next 40% owns 12% of the stock market. The bottom 50 has debt. They have credit card bills, they rent their homes, they have auto loans, and we've got to give them some relief.
I took the first 30 seconds because the whole thing was 3 minutes, but if you want more.
No. That's the meat of it. That's the meat, and you didn't drop too many of the potatoes.
Meat potatoes.
What is so great about the current system, right? And again, I want this irony to not be lost on you because remember the purpose of the Matt Rooney Show? We're preparing you for the week. When you see your lefty coworker tomorrow and they're going off about the tariffs, right? I mean, what happened to the people that the Democrat Party used to tell us they cared about, right? Read J.D. Vance's Hillbilly Elegy. Yeah, things are pretty sweet if you live in a relatively affluent area and you've got cheap goods and you've got what we used to call a white-collar job, and you can work remotely. The economy at the moment is working for you, but there's millions of Americans who are being left behind. And it's not just about those people. If you are narcissistic and you don't really care about your fellow man, and I can't convince you to, that's not sustainable for our country in peace and in war. And it's what Donald Trump is trying to change. Now, one of the other many layers of this ironic onion that we're talking about tonight is Democrats understand this whole idea of, well, you have to do something difficult that causes some short-term pain when it's something that they care about. And when it's something they care about, usually it's fantasy. Here's an example. Climate change, right? We've had volcanic eruptions that have put more CO2 into the atmosphere than the entire Industrial Revolution?
No, that was just Pompeii.
Just Pompeii?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mount Vesuvius.
Did you look that up right now?
No, I knew that.
Okay. Look at you.
I knew that.
Snaps for you. Yeah, baby.
Snaps for Daniel.
He's smart.
That show was good to me.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. But we've had these events, right, that have put more CO2 in the air than the entire Industrial Revolution. Sun activity plays a tremendous role in the weather patterns and the environmental changes here on the face of the planet. And yet somehow we continue to be arrogant enough to think that if we all stop driving SUVs, somehow that's going to affect the future of Mother Gaia. It won't. It won't. We want to be good stewards of our planet, but climate change ideology is based on junk science. It's scientists trying to get grants using projected models to sow fear, and in so doing, get themselves attention and grant money. You don't get grant money at a university for saying, hey, listen, I have this model that shows that everything is okay. We can keep doing what we've been doing. It doesn't work that way, unfortunately. You have to express a problem, and then you get the cash you need to keep yourself in butter brickle. So Democrats and lefties understand this concept in the context of climate change, right? They want you to be okay driving a Flintstone car, giving up electricity around the clock, right? You should be okay with brownouts for certain times of year. When it's cold in the winter, you do a Jimmy Carter and you wear a sweater. When it is hot in the summer, well, open a window, or maybe
actually they don't.
Turn it up to 78.
I'm going to contradict your point. They don't like electric cars anymore.
Well, they don't like Teslas.
It's literally the leading electric car. So
right. Well, they want you to heat
they like
yourself.
Them. They liked them at one point, and now they don't. So
right.
They don't like them anymore. I'm putting all electric cars because Tesla's like the leading one. You don't really hear any electric cars other than Tesla. So it's like they don't like them.
And they keep saying that sales are dropping off, but I see them everywhere. I've seen no drop off. I know that's not scientific, but every place I go, I see those Model Ys and not the Model S. The Model S is the fancy pants one. What's the other one? The basic model?
I have no idea.
Yeah, whatever their basic sedan is.
Don't you have one?
We have one, but
So
it's
what
not.
is it?
It's not. Well, it's not. We don't have the basic model. We don't have the basic model. I don't know what it's called.
You should know.
I didn't buy it, so I don't know what it is.
Your Tesla. Oh, you stole it.
I stole it?
I don't know. You didn't buy it. What else? What else are you gonna do?
Steal it. Nobody's stealing them. They're burning them, Daniel.
Or keying them. That's a big one. I've seen a lot of videos online of people keying Cybertrucks.
They're wiping their rear ends on them.
Yeah. Hot, if you ask me. Hot.
Oh yeah.
Someone might be into that.
My favorite was the one Chris Christie built fellow that was in the scooter.
Yeah.
That was running them into the Cybertruck. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it was a Texas buffet. Dude was
Yeah.
driving a scooter or a go-kart in the back of a Cybertruck. It wasn't doing anything,
all
but
human beings that are shaped like Weebles are Christie-shaped to me. Yeah. Yeah, but they want you to fundamentally transform your life and the United States economy for an imaginary threat. Here we have a real threat that our country is being hollowed out. We don't build anything anymore. And goodness gracious, if we ever go to war, we're in deep trouble. And they don't want to do a tough thing. You can't win with these people. But you always win when you listen to the Matt Rooney Show. You're always in danger of learning something around here. 855-839-1210 is the number. Quick timeout. Back with more in a sec.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT. Kale and Company, weekday mornings, 6 till 10.
I need to get below 200. I can't carry it anymore. I look like a schlub. I've got things that are jiggling in places I shouldn't have places. For those who think I'm not going to be able to pull it off, just remember when you doubted me for the bike ride.
All you need to do is do the bike ride. You'll lose weight.
All I have to do is just cut out booze and carbs.
In all seriousness, I think all of this talking about him not having a great lifespan.
You guys are wearing me down.
Working on him.
Yeah.
See?
Good for all of us.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure why I want to stick around for another 40, but maybe I do.
Start your day with Kale and Company, weekday mornings, 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Spring is here. Don't let stiff or achy joints hold you back. Rescue Natural Supplements is proud to bring you Rescue Glyco Plus. This incredible supplement is specially formulated to support joint comfort and flexibility with a powerful blend of green lip muscle complex and UC2 collagens. This unique combination helps maintain healthy cartilage and provides smoother, more comfortable joint movement. Right now, Rescue Glyco Plus is buy one, get one free for anyone with our exclusive radio code. Just use the code RELIEF to double up your order for free. Again, that's RELIEF. Call today at 800-26-LIFE, 800-262-5483. Speak to a knowledgeable rescue product consultant. You can also use the code online when you visit res-q.com, res-q.com. Get back into action with less pain and more comfort. Again, use that code RELIEF to buy one, get one free on Rescue Glyco Plus.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
Bucks County officials are mourning the death of a beloved county employee who was killed with his two sons on Amtrak train tracks. Spark Therapeutics, a pioneer in gene therapy, is cutting more than half its workforce from its University City headquarters, and voting is underway to select a permanent location for the Philadelphia Portal.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
From Broomall to Blackwood, we know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Suze Loves Jeffy over on YouTube says, I love me some good fear porn. Yeah, there's a lot of that out there today. Did you hear Jim Cramer? Who, kind of like Paul Krugman, has been wrong about everything consistently for about 15, 20 years. It's amazing how some people can make a career out of constantly missing the mark. I mean, we used to call them weathermen. But Krugman and Mr. Mad Money himself, they give any meteorologist a run for their money. I don't know, did we get the 10, Daniel? We probably didn't.
In terms of? Cuts? No.
Cuts, yeah, we didn't get the 10.
I can play it, though, if you would like.
Yeah.
Is it clean?
It's clean.
Did you
No
watch?
No naughty words.
Okay, because I make sure that you...
It's Jim Cramer, so it's whiny, and it's obnoxious, but it's on network television, so.
Oh, okay, yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
The president doesn't try to reach out and reward these countries and companies that play by the rules in the 1987 scenario, the one where we went down 3 days and then down 22% on Monday, has the most cogency. We will not have to wait out too long, will we? We'll know by Monday. Fortunately, we had an excellent set of employment numbers today. At least it makes it less likely a crash will necessarily lead to a recession. But if President Trump stays intransigent and does nothing to ameliorate the damage that I saw these last 2 days, I'm not going to be constructive here. I will contain my anger, but only because I lived through 87, and in the end, I came out okay. I was in cash for the crash. I know what this feels like. Oh, and if Europe moves against our fabulous tech companies next week, then I will be furious. That I promise you, because it should not happen. The president doesn't try to...
Well, there you go.
Yeah, Try to make sense of some of the criticism here, and it's hard to. I mean, look, if you're a day trader, if you are in a tech company, right? Either you own one, you work at one, you have a lot of stock in one. I get it, right? To a large degree, you've made your money, and you made it fair and square. So be it. I'm not here to judge anyone, right? I believe in free market economics, right? With little asterisks on there. But you got to realize that so much of what we have made as a country to sustain our current lifestyle in recent decades has been funded by what is tantamount to slave labor in third world or emerging economic countries, right? I mean, that's the truth of it. That's the truth of it. Yeah, your soccer balls are cheap because they're being stitched together by a 14-year-old in an Asian country, right? That does not have child labor laws. Are you okay with that? Are you down with that? I guess some of you are, right? I mean, personally, I'm not. I'm not, particularly when it's taking jobs from American workers who we need here on this side of the oceans, right? We need them here. We need them here not only for the strength of our economy, but we need them here for our national security. Trump is attempting this realignment. I think he deserves some support. And for those of you that are on President Trump's team, but you are already getting a weak stomach, a little weak in the knees, you're not sure whether or not you can hang on, you're nervous about your own 401k, I have to ask you pointedly, like, what did you vote for? Or what did you think you were voting for last November? The guy means what he says. That's one of the reasons why Donald Trump is one of the most popular political figures of modern political times. He's not a classic politician. He does not believe, and he's been consistent about the problems with the international trading system now for decades. He ran as a change agent. He promised to be a change agent. Actually, his opinions on foreign trade are arguably his most enduring, consistent opinion. So, I mean, I guess maybe some of you decided not to take him seriously. You know, you take him literally, but you didn't take him seriously, and you didn't think he would actually try to change it. But keep in mind who we're dealing with here. We're dealing with a man who not only is stubborn in all the best ways and believes what he says, particularly in this arena, but you're also dealing with someone who is term limited, who they attempted to kill multiple times. They attempted to put in jail for the rest of his life. You don't need me to give you the whole chronology. You're familiar with it. It's not ancient history. In his mind, he's here for a purpose, and that means he feels as if he's empowered to do these big things, to touch the third rails, to pick the tough fights that a normal politician of either party would be too chicken you-know-what to do themselves, because they have to worry about getting reelected. They're concerned about their legacy. They don't want people to hate them. Well, the people that hate Donald Trump, it's basically a religion. It's arguably the second largest religion in the United States right now. First is still Christianity. Second is Orange Man Bad. So I think he's not losing any sleep over that now, and he's not going to lose any sleep on it after all is said and done. But the president's surrogates were out in force this weekend on the cable news shows, and some great commentary. I got to stick. So I guess it's what, 7 down, Dan? 7's as far as we got?
Yeah, but I mean, I can always, if you tell me which one it is, I can always play it. Granted, I don't have it, but I have ways of getting it real quickly.
Yeah, see, you're such a professional. You're such a professional. This is Howard Lutnick on Face the Nation, giving everyone a little bit of a history lesson.
Two.
This is numero uno for our bilingual listeners.
Set the power of the United States of America and reset it against all our allies and our enemies alike. The idea that all the countries of the world can run trade surpluses with America and buy our things with us. Remember, $1.2 trillion. In 1980, we were a net investor, meaning we owned more of the rest of the world than they owned of us.
Yeah, it's a different world. It's a different market.
Now they own $18 trillion of us net. So that means the rest of the world, every year when we run a $1.2 trillion deficit, the rest of the world buys $1.2 trillion of America, and it goes up and up and up. And eventually, we're not going to own America, and we are going to be owned by the rest of the world. Imagine if we had a war and we can't build a ship, we can't fly a plane, we can't build our own planes, we don't have our own semiconductors. This is what the president is here to fix for America. It's in his hands, and he wants to fix America. This is his chance to fix America, and we need him to fix it for our children and our grandchildren.
She wants to shut him up as quickly as she can because that answer is devastating, right? So she has to, on behalf of on behalf of the class of people that all have financial advisors, she has to try to shut down Lutnick because it's unimpeachable logic, right? We cannot be a country that doesn't produce anything, and we can't be owned by the rest of the world. Many people in the rest of the world, as we know, don't necessarily have the best interests of this country at heart. I mean, a very clear example here at home that's gotten a lot of attention lately is China buying up all our farmland. I was waiting for Dan to hit the hotkey.
I was also waiting myself to do it. I just didn't have it up.
I paused because I thought he was going for it.
China.
I don't have time for any of this.
China.
It's my first day. It's my first day.
It's your first day. You're doing great, kid.
Thanks.
Don't worry about it.
Do you think I have a future?
Well, let's
that
talk.
Means no.
Let's
That's
have
fine.
let's
You
have
can
a sit
continue.
down. Let's have a sit down after the show, and we'll talk about what went wrong and the couple of things that maybe might go right before we're out of here.
Thanks.
Yeah. But look, let's continue. Numero deuce, more from Secretary Howard Lutnick.
You've got to realize this is a national security issue. I mean, we don't make medicine in this country anymore. We don't make ships. We don't have enough steel and aluminum to fight a battle, right? All our semiconductors are made overseas, so every button we press when we try to start our car or even use our microwave, these are all semiconductors. They're all made elsewhere. We've got to start to protect ourselves, and we've got to stop having all the countries of the world ripping us off. We have a $1.2 trillion trade deficit, and the rest of the world has a surplus with us. They're earning our money. They're taking our money.
Right.
And Donald Trump has seen this, and he's going to stop it. So it is going to be a big change. Of course it's going to be a big change, but the rest of the world has been ripping us off for all these many years. Donald Trump has seen it. He's spoken about it.
I understand
and he's just
that,
not going to
and
take it anymore, and that's his model.
One of the things that I love about the Trump administration, Trump 2.0, as it's known, they've learned the tricks of the trade when it comes to dealing with the legacy media when they do go on these shows. No, you know what? I'm just going to keep talking until I make the point that I came on here to make. And I'm not going to allow a lefty journalist who clearly does not want the Trump administration to succeed, let alone be able to express its opinion over the airwaves. I'm not going to allow them to derail me. And every single one of these Trump cabinet secretaries has the same approach. Lutnick, Linda McMahon, Brooke Rollins. Just, it's beautiful.
Yeah, well, Linda McMahon just wants to make the world a giant SmackDown versus Raw match. So you gotta grab the briefcase. You know what I mean? That's hanging. You know, just make it a giant WrestleMania type thing.
A giant WrestleMania type thing.
The U.S. versus every other country for the heavyweight or the belt.
I'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes the debate you would get would actually be more elevated than what we have right now.
Yeah.
Get a cage. Get a celebrity referee.
Get a couple chairs that people just smack them at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, 2028. Be here before you know it. Speaking of debates, though, we're not gonna have a debate tonight. That's not the goal. But we do have governor candidate, New Jersey gubernatorial candidate Steven Fulop here, Democrat, mayor of Jersey City, coming up in, I guess he'll be up here in about, 8-10 minutes?
Yeah.
They're actually downstairs, somebody just told me.
Yeah. He's
So
up here.
is he up here already?
Yeah, he's up here.
Oh, they got him up here?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I get all of my information up here by Pony Express. So somebody sends
Probably
up
pigeon.
Pigeon?
But the pigeon got stuck on the window. It kind of just flew into it, and I didn't see it, so I had to look over and be like, "Are you okay, pigeon?" Be like, "Yeah, he's here." Like,
Is that your voice you use to calm pigeons?
Yeah, it's like the narwhal.
If I was a pigeon, that would calm me down.
It's like the narwhal from Elf. Bye, buddy. I'll find your dad.
Thank you, Mr. Narwhal.
Hey, Daniel and Matt, your guest is here on time. Kind of sounds like Mr. Mackey a little bit from South Park.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Boys. Okay.
Yeah.
Over on YouTube, by the way, which very busy tonight. It's usually extra busy when we have an in-studio guest. Margaret, hello, Margaret, our friend. She says, Matt, I do have something I would like your opinion on, which I value. Well, thank you, Margaret. I value your opinion. Do you think that Trump should have met that plane in Dover with those 4 soldiers? In my opinion, I think he should have.
Humble opinion.
No, I know that that's what the H stands for, Dan.
Just want to make sure. Just wanted to make sure you didn't need a Gen Z to clarify what these abbreviations
You
mean.
You are the official Gen Z
Latinx Gen
explainer.
Z correspondent.
Latinx, yeah.
Mansplainer, yeah.
No, I can handle the mansplaining.
Okay, cool. All right, just make sure.
Yeah, look. Look, I read a little bit about this today earlier, Margaret. I haven't really done a deep dive in it. I did see that Pete Hegseth was going over to greet the families and I guess the bodies as they were returning to Dover. The Secretary of Defense going there for that, is still a pretty big thing. Look, I'll read up more about it, and I'll have a more developed opinion for you next time after I know all the details. But let me say this much, and I'm not trying to put anybody off by saying this, but I think it's where a lot of our heads are at. After the sustained level of disrespect that the Bidens showed for our military, and just about everyone in this country, over the course of 4 years, it seems like almost everything is an upgrade. I mean, has anybody from the Biden administration apologized from the withdrawal from Afghanistan? I don't think so. So the fact that the Trump administration is still finding a way to let our servicemen and women, and in this context, most importantly, their families, know that they're important to us, they're a priority to us, that's probably what matters most to the families. But I'll reserve judgment until I know more. I don't know all the circumstances. I was so busy preparing for tonight's program. It takes a lot of work. I know we make it look effortless here on the show, but you might.
Oh no! Today, I'm getting the rust off today, buddy. It's been a month. I'm getting the rust off.
Oh yeah, no. Dan is
getting the rust off. Nothing seems to be working. Everything's changing.
I had to hit him with some WD-40.
Yeah, we got to go back to the old school, how it was when we first started the show.
Yeah.
Now settle down there, partner. You know what I mean? Like the 1950s.
You got a future in radio, young man. Imagine Stalker with looking like who's the guy from Spider-Man?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Darth Vader.
No, not Darth Vader. Get out of here.
Spider-Man 1, 2, 3 are the new ones.
I don't know. There's the editor at the paper.
Oh, I don't know who that is.
You know?
No, I don't.
Get me a photo of Spider-Man.
Oh, I don't know.
Not Lois Lane.
Lois Lane.
That's Superman squeeze.
That's a reporter at a newspaper, though.
He only knows Batman.
And Martha.
You only know Batman.
And Martha.
Useless. 855-839-1210 is the number. Over on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. We are going to take a quick timeout. And when we be back, we've got a full hour ahead with Mayor Steve Fulop, Democrat candidate for governor in the great state of New Jersey. Should be interesting. Hope you'll join us here on 1210 WPHT.
Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
I'll trust water bottles and a flashlight to save the day, but I'll be proved wrong.
With a tornado approaching, I'll realize that I lack a wheelchair-accessible shelter.
When the floodwaters rise, I'll be up in the attic with 20 cans of beans. It's a recipe for disaster.
let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Don't miss the Education Show with Dom Giordano every Sunday morning at 5:30. Find out how you can help your child or grandchild succeed. Sponsored by New Hope Academy.
Ready, set, stroll. Fans 55 and over are invited to circle the diamond during Independence Blue Cross Senior Stroll the Bases following the Phillies game against the Giants on Thursday, April 17th at 4:05. Grab tickets now at Phillies.com. San Francisco visits Philadelphia when the Phils face the Giants at Citizens Bank Park for a 4-game set starting Monday, April 14th through Thursday, April 17th. Join the fun and get tickets now at Phillies.com.
Every year, millions of Americans use opioids to manage pain. Pain can be unrelenting, overwhelming, and all-consuming. So why do so many of us try to manage pain only from the palm of our hands? Doctor-prescribed opioids are appropriate in some cases, but they just mask the pain. And reliance on opioids has led to the worst drug crisis in American history. That's why the CDC recommends safer alternatives, like physical therapy to manage pain. Physical therapists treat pain through movement, hands-on care, and patient education. No warning labels required. And by increasing physical activity, you can also reduce your risk of other chronic diseases. Pain is personal, but treating pain takes teamwork. When it comes to your health, you have a choice. Choose more movement and better health. Choose physical therapy. Visit moveforwardpt.com to find a physical therapist in your area. This message is brought to you by the American Physical Therapy Association.
Well, here we are again, and this is looking like a pretty lopsided matchup, Jim.
That's right, Ron. I mean, in one corner, we've got a 175-pound guy, and in the other, a 6,000-ton heavyweight train?
Jim, this guy has no idea what he's getting himself into.
Ron, the size difference alone is staggering.
Oh, unbelievable, Jim. And this guy is acting like he doesn't have a care in the world.
What is this guy thinking, Ron?
Well, this is one of those rare moments where I actually find myself at a loss for words.
I can hardly bear to watch.
It's no contest. Every day, people tempt fate and die trespassing on railroad tracks. Railroad tracks are more dangerous than you think. See tracks, think train. For more safety tips and information, visit ctracksthinktrain.org.
WPHT, WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios, powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Pastor Brad Lacey here, First Baptist Church, Conshohocken. Join us Saturdays for the great message and be blessed. 5 a.m. right here on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Oh, the book lover's heart. It's too healthy for words.
And the nature lover's heart, it flies high with the birds.
See the art lover's heart, throbbing vibrant with color.
And the food lover's heart, it's as sweet as a cruller.
Hear the music lover's heart, how it's always in tune.
And the night lover's heart shines as bright as the moon.
But the heart of someone with pulmonary hypertension, PH for short, labors. pH puts unbearable stress on the heart, which can cause death from heart failure. And it's often misdiagnosed as asthma. But with early, accurate diagnosis, new treatments are helping people with PH live longer and better. The Pulmonary Hypertension Association gives hope to PH patients and caregivers. We want people to have
a heart that is strong for a life rich and long.
We're putting our heart into finding a cure. Learn more at phassociation.org. That's phassociation.org.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Chuck McDowell here again. Over the years, I've seen way too many timeshare exit companies pop up, take folks' money, and disappear. I just saw an ad from an exit company started by a couple of bozos that used to work for me. My advice, don't hire bozos I'll fire. Want out of your timeshare? I'll send you our free timeshare exit info kit explaining your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free kit. 800-843-1313. 800-843-1313.
WPHT, WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios, powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Live and local with Matt Rooney on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
I'm surprised you let me get the 3 after, Daniel.
I'm nice sometimes.
You are nice sometimes. A little bit nice anyway. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Boys and girls. Friends, frenemies, everybody out there on the spectrum that is life. This is another edition of the Matt Rooney Show, and hour number 2 of 3 on 1210 WPHT this evening. Having a hell of a time here on the banks of the somewhat damp and chilly Schuylkill River this evening. We're having a little bit of a false spring last week, I guess. I wore shorts, which kind of unnerved some people here at the station. There's lots of prejudice here.
Did you wear flip-flops too?
Yeah, I did wear the flip-flops.
I'm glad I wasn't here.
What is it with you and toes?
Don't worry about it.
Okay, all right. I'll leave that to you and your therapist, Dan. Well, that's the first question we can ask. We can ask Mayor Fulop. We can ask him how he feels about flip-flops. You got a lot of bike share in Jersey City, so I would think wearing the flip-flops on the bikes can be a little hazardous.
I wear flip-flops.
Do you? Yeah. Okay. Even when riding a bike?
Let's see here. Yeah. I don't know if he's going. Hold on. Let me see real quick. I know his mic's on, but there might be. I can hear you, but let me see. Hold on. Matt, talk amongst yourself.
This is Dan's first week, by the way.
Yeah. I just started.
Can you hear him now?
Go ahead.
Yes.
Oh, my. Like I said, they have everything just all locked down here. It's not you. It's the board that they have.
It's not you. It's me. You've heard that a lot in your life, haven't you? Yeah. Bella, have you ever used that one on him? Is Bella on tonight?
Yes.
Is Bella in the chat? Hello, Bella.
Yes.
Does he press on? Is that the issue?
No, it's the way that the mics are set up. Apparently, like I don't know, man. It's my first day. What do you want me to do?
We bought them with USAID money, so you know.
This is a terrible look.
That's on us here at the station.
Gosh. I might have to do something real quick. So
you might have to do something real quick?
Yeah, let me go to like a quick 20-second PSA and then I'll come back.
Okay, sounds good. Live radio,
Recovery
people.
from mental and substance use disorders is real. It happens every day. You can recover. Discover hope and help.
Never give up on yourself.
Join the Voices for Recovery. For confidential information for mental and substance use disorders, call 1-800-662-HELP. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer.
When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
All right, let's see if we can get this now. Well, you gotta love live radio.
Is it working now?
Well,
can we do an interview?
Sure, try it.
Okay.
Test.
There you go.
Oh, that's working?
Yeah, I got it.
Oh my! What about over on YouTube, folks? YouTube.com/@1210 WPHT. Can you hear us?
They should be able to. Yes.
All right. Well, Kimmy did because she says guys shouldn't wear flip-flops.
Yes.
I see. Look. I mean, we're coming up on the holy season, right? Jesus wore flip-flops. I don't understand. Okay, I'm going to lose this debate, so I'm just going to walk away from this one.
Yeah, it's 2 against 1.
They're piling on now. Yeah. So all right. Well, let's move on to things that are more topical, and we're going to properly introduce our guest here. So we do our best here on the Matt Rooney Show to inject plenty of New Jersey politics into this little Philadelphia radio station. And our Pennsylvania friends on the western banks of the Delaware, you usually indulge us because you think it's cute that in New Jersey, this deeply blue state, we talk about New Jersey politics. But this year is different because there's a real race in New Jersey this year. And before we figure out who's going to be competing in the general election, both sides have pitched hotly contested primaries. Now, we've spoken to many of the Republican candidates already. We still have Jack Ciattarelli coming back, I want to say later this month, and then Bill Spadia is going to be joining us in May. But we wanted to do something different. We wanted to see if any of the Democrat candidates would join us. And lo and behold, I guess we could count on a Marine.
That's right.
To have no problem coming in here to chat with us. I don't think there's a good chance that Mikey Sherrill or Steve Sweeney are going to be coming over here anytime soon. But the man that joins us tonight, like I said, he did serve as a Marine. He served his country. You were in Iraq?
In Iraq with the first wave of troops, yeah.
In Iraq. He served his country in Iraq, came home, worked in the private sector, but currently He is the mayor of Jersey City, which is New Jersey's second largest municipality, right up out there in North Jersey, right? Very populous city, lots of stuff going on, very interesting. Always at the center of our statewide debates to begin with. Now Mayor Fulop has decided that he's going to throw his hat in the ring for governor. And I think the most recent poll that I saw, you can only put so much stock in these things.
True.
You were in the top 3. So we have a leading candidate for governor here. That's the headline.
Let me say this. So we finished polling last week. We're in the top 2. It's closing. And
can I guess at who the other person is?
You can guess.
Is it Mikey?
It's Mikey. She's still in front.
Okay.
It was 6 points at this point, but it's consolidated where the entire field is within 12 points. The entire field. So now it's hard to poll, obviously primaries and without a line, but
right.
It's really interesting that coming into 65 days out, you're going to have everybody with a viable shot.
And that's the wild thing about the New Jersey Democrat primary this year, because you just said everyone's all bunched up. The Republican side, we'll see what happens, but most of the polls have Jack Ciattarelli pretty comfortably out ahead, probably in part because of name recognition, but really anything can happen in the Democrat race. Now,
are you a Ciattarelli or Spadia guy, or you're neutral? I mean, I don't know.
So Chris Christie, or Fatty McThunderbiscuits as he's known around here, cured me of being a bandwagon guy.
Okay.
I went all in for him in 2009. We all know how that story ended.
Yeah.
We probably dislike him in part for different reasons, maybe some of the same reasons.
He dislikes me. But
he doesn't like, well, I'm not getting a Christmas card either.
Yeah.
So you and I have something in common there. But so I made a decision a long time ago that, you know what? I mean, obviously I'm going to vote for someone. I'm one of the panelists for one of the upcoming debates we're going to do with New Jersey Globe. But I'm not telling people what to think. I'm keeping an open mind so that I can try to make sure our listeners get the information they need to make an informed decision. And when you endorse a candidate or you go on for a candidate, then we're constantly having to apologize for it.
True.
And I think that there's too much of that. I'd much rather do this. I want someone like you to come in here and have a conversation about the race. And you are an interesting guy. Well, let me ask you this right out the gate.
One question before you get into the Republican. Do you think the president engages in the primary in New Jersey?
Do I think that he's going to endorse?
Yeah.
Trying to ask whether or not, or figure out whether or not Donald Trump's going to endorse in a Republican primary. I mean, you might as well try to guess in May whether it's going to rain on any given day.
True.
It's impossible to know. I would think that he probably would have done so already were he going to, but you never know. Yeah. He endorsed in the Senate race in New Jersey last year,
late,
about 2-3 weeks beforehand. He endorsed Christine Glasser on the beach in Wildwood at that historic rally. And before that, there was no real indication publicly he was going one way or the other.
Was that just like somebody whispered in his ear that night and he just said, okay, let's go with it?
He goes with his gut. I know it's going to surprise you to hear that, but that's
well,
that's how it works sometimes.
It's costing a lot of people money now, you know?
Well, I mean, let me ask you about that right out the gate.
Yeah.
Because it's not really a state issue, even though it impacts our state.
Sure.
Certainly. But for years, I've heard Democrats talk about how our economy doesn't work for the working class. It doesn't work for the middle class. And part of it's undeniably because of these trade deals that both parties supported back in the 90s, which has sent all of our manufacturing overseas. So while no one likes to see their 401k have a really rough month, what other options are there on the table to bring these jobs that we need, not just for our economy, but for national security back to the country? How do we, like, Jersey City is a great example. Great place, love to visit it. It's residential. It's basically a giant dorm, and I don't mean that disparagingly, but it's there's no manufacturing.
I want to so a couple things on that. So it is true that Donald Trump has tapped into the anger of NAFTA, and 20 years ago, and people are still mad about not having a job in Middle America, and rightfully so. I talk a lot about the fact that the change with AI that is imminent in the next 5 years is going to be NAFTA on steroids, as it will do massive changes to the job market.
As a lawyer, I'm out of a job.
Yeah, for sure. You're done. You're
create
done.
A contract.
You're done.
Don't need me anymore. I mean, I might work for the AI program in some way, but
I think that, first of all, we have created jobs and have a corporate industry in Jersey City, and I'll talk about that in a second. and it's less of a dorm community. It's more families than ever before. It's totally changed over the last 10 years. Whoever said that or indicated that to you certainly isn't familiar with kind of the change in the demographic there. There's more families staying, schools. I think there's challenges in the schools once you get to some middle schools and high schools that people leave, but it's definitely more families staying there, less of a dorm community. A lot of incubator spaces for small businesses, startups. That's all working out real well. Going back to Donald Trump and the tariffs, I don't think it's realistic to think that putting on these massive taxes and tariffs on foreign companies is going to change manufacturing overnight here. And we are the wealthiest country in the world. It's not perfect, but things were working from an economic standpoint. And being disruptive like he's been over the last week is scary for a lot of people. I think that the impact in the primary and the gubernatorial election, to give it full circle, of his actions in the last week have made it massively difficult for Republicans to win in November and then in the next 2 years if he doesn't correct this. And going back to what you said earlier, he's very unpredictable. So you don't know if he's going to walk it back tomorrow. Market is hemorrhaging points for tomorrow. You see it.
Well, we can agree on this. It has to work, right? And that's true of any major policy change, whether we're talking about Obamacare, a president's decision to engage in a particular armed conflict, certainly this major reset of the international financial order, rather. I mean, yes, if everyone is bleeding come October or November, that's good.
Oh, I mean,
that's good for your team, but I don't think I don't think that America suffering is necessarily a given here.
There is no way that the response is going to be from these foreign countries saying, "Okay, no problem. We're gonna alleviate our tariffs." So you're seeing what their reaction is. They're coming
Vietnam
together.
and a few other leaders have already reached out and said that they want to have bilateral deals.
You've seen more reciprocal tariffs being talked about than bilateral deals. Trump said over the weekend we had good conversation. It doesn't mean anything. I think we both know that. You're seeing more direct conversation as reciprocal tariffs. So the risk of kind of a downward spiral here is significant. And the best indicator is the market. The market is down 1,500 points in futures for tomorrow morning. So that is the best indicator of what people think is coming. It's scary. And I think that it should be scary for Republicans in November and in 2 years if you continue on this trajectory. It's just a dangerous path that was unnecessary economically or politically.
Well, see, again, though, that's what I want to get to.
Yeah, sure.
We're talking about what is the alternative, because you said that things were working pretty well. I don't think that many people would agree that they've been working well for a large swath of the American population. Yes, if you work on Wall Street, if you are a lawyer, if you're a doctor's a great example right now because they're in demand. We have a doctor shortage. That could be a 3-hour show at some point. You're doing okay, but there's that large swath of Americans in the middle that are continuing to be left out. I mean, there's a reason why J.D. Vance's book, Love or Hate Him, was a bestseller, Hillbilly Elegy, right? Because there's many Americans that aren't finding a way to fit in this economy. And now we have more and more Americans graduating from college with degrees that they're fun. But can you actually do anything with it?
Everything you said is accurate, but the difference is you're not going to go back to an economy from 1995. And the reality is that you're not going to end up making Nikes in this country. It's just not where we're headed ultimately, because you don't want to pay $400 for Nikes. That's the truth, okay? So you need to think about, how do you train people for different types of jobs? How do you educate people in a different type of way? And that's a better use of kind of resources. I think that his mindset telling people in middle America that we're going to somehow get back those jobs that were lost to NAFTA or free trade is kind of a false promise. And so this is kind of where we are. I guess we'll see in the next couple of weeks kind of how it manifests itself. But I think that your parents, my parents, friends, families that have hemorrhaged money in retirement are probably pretty scared over his actions because it was unnecessary. That's the key thing. It wasn't like COVID came. We could talk about that, but it wasn't predicted.
Well, you could argue what happened during COVID was unambiguously unnecessary. How long we shut down, how hard we shut down.
Agreed.
And you didn't hear that massive pushback coming from the left during those months.
Yeah, but it's easy. I was an executive during that time, right? So it's easy to be the Monday morning quarterback and look back. But at the time that it was happening, I remember the streets were quiet except for ambulances. People knew people that were in the emergency room. Once you got put on any any device to help you with breathing,
or something like
anything, you were pretty much dead. And it was a scary time. So people made decisions that today is able to say that was the unnecessary, incorrect decision. But at the moment, it seemed right. This is different because we're not being attacked by a disease or a foreign country. It is an executive, the president in this case, unilaterally making a decision that has thrown our entire economy into chaos. And he's playing golf and saying, relax, it'll be okay. And I guess we'll see how that works out. But it doesn't feel good. And the market is telling you that it's not good. That's the scary part of what's happening today.
But you know the market is only one measure, right? Because it's a reflection of emotion many times.
The market is a reflection on business sentiment. So it is a reflection of emotion, but it's
Don't you
also...
think that's less true, though, in the day trader age?
Well, no, I think
there are a lot of people at home clicking sell because of what they're seeing on CNBC.
I think there hasn't been a CEO with a global footprint in the last week that has said that tariffs are a good thing. Not one. Okay, so take the market noise for a second. If you want to say that somebody in the retail market is overreacting, fine. But there hasn't been a CEO with a global footprint that says this is a good thing. And I think that should be an indicator for you that this is probably not the right path and business feels very uncomfortable. And that's going to be very detrimental to the economy. And recession risks are above 60% at this point. That's what you're looking at. From all of the major banks have raised their likelihood of recession, which is a scary thing for everybody.
Now, we're probably never going to agree on this particular topic, but it makes me think of something else, right?
Do you think the tariffs are good, Matt, though? I'm curious.
Absolutely.
You do?
Yeah, because, I mean, look, I believe what the Democrats of my youth used to claim to believe, which is that we should be a country where we are a place where everyone can be afforded opportunity. If we're a country where only tech CEOs and relatively affluent people with advanced degrees living in some like wealthy suburbs like in New Jersey, some neighborhoods in Jersey City can succeed, that's maybe sustainable for a while, but that's not the American dream. I agree with what you're saying insofar as no one should be promising we're going to go back to the 60s, right?
It's not realistic.
It's not realistic,
Yeah.
But I think it is unassailably true that we've gone too far in one direction. We can't be a country that is just middle managers, people graduating with political science degrees, right, that aren't building things and producing things.
But, okay, so let's build on that. I agree with what you just said.
Yeah.
So is the right approach a tariff, which saying to use Nike as an example, we need you to open a factory here, which will be astronomically more expensive, or is the better approach saying let's figure out how to train people, educate people differently? You touched on the higher education, the universities, which is probably the smarter and better approach, the type of jobs that you're going to have here, more engineers, more skills, more, I mean, Spadia does talk often about using your hands in carpentry and plumbing and that sort of, those are good things.
Oh, you're right. You need a holistic approach. Like case in point, I don't know how you feel about it. I might guess at it, right? But Linda McMahon, our new education secretary, wants to get rid of the Department of Education, which I think that bureaucracy puts way too much focus on a one-size-fits-all education scheme for this country, right? We're not teaching kids the skills they actually need to go out there and to be able to get the kind of jobs which makes America the economic juggernaut that it should be, and it once was. But we've kind of given up that heritage. So, yes, and there's regulatory reasons, there's tax reasons that cause us to be less competitive than we otherwise might be. I agree with you. It's not like you can put a tariff out there and it's going to be a panacea for all of our problems. But if it's the beginning of a negotiation, I think it makes perfect sense.
I guess we'll see where it goes. There's no indication that it's a negotiation, but we'll see where it goes.
I'm an optimist.
Okay, I'm an optimist. I'm an optimist too. It's really hard to be an optimist in today's moment, though.
Well, you'd have to be because you're running for the Democrat nomination in a machine system, right?
Yeah.
Even though the lines are going, I was struck looking at the recent results of the Somerset County, I believe, Democrat convention. You chose not to participate.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen this. They said, hey, listen, here's these 6 Democrat candidates. We're endorsing all of them except for Steve Fulop.
Well, what is that? That's true. Look, our campaign is unapologetically about changing that system. And I think that a lot of people that have monetized the system, that they make a lot of money off this political structure in New Jersey being lobbyists and then controlling the politics, should be scared because we're going directly at that. Talk about it. We're going to change it. And I think that they hear the footsteps. I mean, you could see their actions. You know, Mikey Sherrill was doing a roundtable on Friday around in Jersey City around issues around rent. You see, IEs popping up, spending money against me with anonymous names. It's just because they hear the footsteps, and we're going to continue to build.
I don't understand her appeal. I'll be honest with you. There's some people in this race who have accomplished things.
Yep.
I don't think I'll be voting for any of them. Mikey, respect her service, just like I respect your service, but that's kind of where the resume ends. And I don't get it. She runs away from many of the most consequential, or certainly some of the most interesting debates of our time. Not voting initially on the Lake and Riley Act is something that jumped out at me, not just because I feel strongly about the Lake and Riley Act, but how do you not formulate a position on something that's that central to the current national discourse?
So I do feel the same way, in the sense that it is very hard to get her to lean into any position historically. And I think that there's a lack of depth there when it comes to policy issues or familiarity. She's kind of put there by a lot of the kind of these political establishment, political machine, because she's got a great bio. But if you think about kind of her track record, first of all, she's very, very moderate, even on things like when it came to impeaching Trump, right? The first time. I mean, we're going to differ on that for a second. But
she only hates him a little bit. Everyone else hates her a lot.
She was initially a no, then she was a yes. Lake and Riley, the same thing. Some issues around different communities, the same thing. On the politics of the Democratic line, the same thing. Like, it's time and again, it's very, very late to leaning into something. It's based on polls or, consensus politically, taking the easy route. And I think that's a dangerous thing for New Jersey, to be honest with you. You need people with bold vision and leadership. So I think in the nature of any campaign in the next 2 months, that'll level itself out and people will see it for what it is. But I agree with your assessment on her candidacy.
Right. So I'm not inspired by her. It seems like she's arguably the front runner. We'll see how it shakes out.
She's the front runner. She's the front runner.
We'll see how it shakes out. But here's my question for you, and it's a sincere question. So I like a lot of what you've said over the years about the Democrat establishment. I think we're distrustful of many of the same people.
Yeah.
I'm a South Jersey guy, not a fan of the Norcross machine, for instance. You've spoken out against it. But at the end of the day, whether you win, whether Mikey Sherrill wins, whether Steve Sweeney somehow pulls a rabbit out of a hat, I've listened to these Democrat discourses and these Democrat forums very closely. The ideas are pretty much the same. Like, case in point, we were talking a moment ago about Lake and Riley. You were out in front declaring Jersey City a sanctuary jurisdiction. Back in like 2017.
Well,
I don't want to get the year wrong.
I think it was originally in like 1980 something, and then reaffirmed in 2016.
It was 2016.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of people, a lot of New Jerseyans, myself included, think that that's a very dangerous thing. So I guess talking about reforming government is great, right? But if the policies aren't different, the policies that many of us believe are currently hurting New Jersey, making it less prosperous, making it less safe, what is the functional difference?
So tell me, what about that policy? Let's just talk about that for a second.
Sure.
What about that policy do you think is making New Jersey less safe? Let's just, so we get to the same place. It's a good starting point.
Sure. I mean, look, first of all, you can go down to the very basic level of ICE has picked up how many people in New Jersey at this point? Dozens, hundreds of individuals who you and I could sit here and say, that person has a record that doesn't want me having them in my state anywhere near my family. You and I are both fathers. We've got kids, people that are wanted for sex crimes, people that are wanted for human trafficking. Every single one of those individuals that has that kind of a rap sheet that's here illegally wouldn't be here if we didn't have open borders. Also, we know that it's a major drain on our state economy, right? We are paying for the children of illegals to go to schools, to use our services. Now we're giving out driver's licenses. I think it's fair to say that you can point out the obvious, that a country with a unrestricted immigration system is less safe without denying someone's humanity. But that's often where this debate goes off the rails, right? Me suggesting a country should have borders and that we should have a robust immigration system, but there should be rules, right? That doesn't make one a xenophobe.
Okay,
that's a logical statement, I think.
There's a lot to unpack there with what you said.
Right.
Okay, so I agree we should have borders. Country without borders is not a country. We agree on that.
Your head or Hillary Clinton. So there you go.
Well, borders are important, and immigration policy is important. And I think Democrats would agree that a child rapist, a murderer should not be in this country, and we would agree on that.
But not everyone would, though, because, not to cut you off because you didn't vote, but every single one of those Democrats in our congressional delegation voted against the Lake
But-
and
but
Riley
let
Act
me
at
go.
the end
Let
of
me
the
go a
day.
step further, though. Let's just talk about that for a second. What's lost on people often when they just say these sound bites is that you have 500,000 undocumented people in New Jersey. Okay,
Right.
Most of them aren't categorized in that categories of criminals that you said. Most are not. Most are struggling, paying taxes in some form, or contributing to the economy here. It's actually $1.3 billion that 500,000 people contribute to the New Jersey economy. Okay. And so,
Which they then receive reciprocal services.
But we'll talk about the services in a second. So
Right?
these people are here,
Mhm,
okay,
mhm.
and they're part of the economy, and they're part of your neighborhood, and they're people that you know and service things that you care about. If you tried, which would never happen, it's a right-wing talking point, this mass deportation plan, okay, you would see costs for everybody go up quite significantly. So I think the way Democrats generally think about this is saying, okay, we have had an immigration problem for a long time in this country, Republicans and Democrats. The border should be secure, and we should have policies around that. I think we agree on that. And of course, if you're a criminal, you shouldn't be here. But we have 500,000 people in New Jersey. Most overwhelmingly are good people contributing to society here. How do we work with those people in a way that's beneficial for everybody? And that's kind of where I am ultimately. So you brought up the driver's license situation.
Sure.
The driver's license situation is one where I believe actually Jack Ciattarelli, ironically, supported at the time. There's talking points of this, and everybody's kind of done a 180 because of the politics of it. But if you go back in time, the thought process on this where you had people here that were driving, okay, that were potentially getting in accidents, that didn't have insurance, that had no documentation to drive, but they were here. You weren't going to eliminate these people. So how do we make it safer on the streets for people like you and I and our families?
But you see, because you're a smart guy, though, what the problem with that is. That we have people that we've continued to let in illegally, and then we've said, well, it gives rise to this problem, to this need. Let's meet it in the name of compassion. And then what we've done is we've created a larger magnet for more illegal immigration.
No,
and the crime that is coming in, we know who the leading victims of illegal immigrant crime are.
No.
Members of the Hispanic community that are preyed upon. Human trafficking. We have human trafficking in New Jersey. It's not just at the border.
I think
right?
I think that the disconnect here, right, is that yes, you should be compassionate. You should deal with a problem in a sensible, reasonable sort of way. We agree that Republicans and Democrats should have had some more controls at the border. And at times, there was legislation that was pushed forward. And if you remember, it was actually Donald Trump, because of the politics, that actually didn't want that. Okay,
I got to address that, though. Joe Biden could have done, and President Trump is actually proving it in real time.
Yes.
He could have done that all with executive order.
Okay, so
but he was too busy enriching himself off of Ukraine or whatever the heck was happening.
So we could agree or disagree. It's irrelevant, the procedure around that. But at the core of what I said, and what I said about was that
it's not irrelevant though, because you pointed out
borders
that
are
Republicans
good.
didn't do something. No, that's fine. And if you believe that, that's awesome. But you pointed out Republicans could have done something about it. Joe Biden was the president of the United States. As the commander in chief, he had the executive authority to shutter the border overnight.
Okay.
And begin to fix this problem through, in part, attrition, right? Because some people go home on their own.
Yes.
And that's happening right now.
But yes, I don't know. Let's go with what you're saying. Joe Biden could have done executive orders, right? And could have done it, right?
Sure.
And Donald Trump 4 years early could have done it. And 4 years before that was Obama. This has not been a problem that started in the last 4 years. I mean,
that's undeniably true.
So okay, so you
know
have
that
500
old story of Ronald Reagan and Teddy Kennedy passing the cigar box back and forth?
No.
Right? Oh yeah. Negotiating immigration reform back in the 80s.
So my point on this is that you have this huge number of people in New Jersey that do contribute to the economy. How do you deal with them in a practical, thoughtful sort of way? And I think we disagree on that. You're on the radio, and I get it, what your constituency wants to hear.
Well,
I'm in the problem-solving business, Matt. I'm trying to figure it out a little bit.
Listen, I live, and I always get that put down, and I don't fault you for it because I've heard it a billion times. I live in the real world. Right?
So do I.
Well, I know, but I'm not denying that you do. I have a family that lives in New Jersey. I want them to be safe. I'm a small businessman. I drive on the same New Jersey roads that you want to be the governor of, right? So I want to have a secure society. And see, this is what it kind of bleeds into our discussion about tariffs, right? Democrats, they hate the tariffs. They want to have this permanent population of illegal aliens who, let's face it, it has created a little bit of a caste society. no matter how many goodies like driver's license for illegals have been created by state government. It's really setting up the exact opposite of, again, what Democrats tell us they want, this integrated society where everybody's equal and has access to opportunity. That's not what it is.
Well,
right?
I don't follow your logic on that. Go walk me through that one more time.
Sure. So somebody comes into this country, right? No matter how many goodies you give them, right?
Well, I don't think it's so black and white. I mean,
they're
it's
still
like,
living.
go ahead.
Well,
Go ahead.
Well, no. I mean, how's it not black and white?
Well, go ahead. I'm not going to interrupt. Go finish your thoughts. So
Yeah,
they come
no.
in, they get these goodies.
Yeah,
right?
they get these goodies, but they're still not citizens. So unless you're telling us your goal is to give them full amnesty, then essentially you're creating a caste culture. And you're never fully integrating them into the country. I mean, the ancient Romans did that, but it wasn't moral.
No, I think that we're in a place where there's a lot of anger in society and people look for people to blame. And so it's easy in a talking point to blame immigrants. And I think that if you take a step back and you look at the reality of New Jersey or this country and what a lot of Democrats say, maybe not all, but I do say, borders are important and immigration policy is important. And we have a practical problem here. So I don't think we're as far apart, minus your talking points, but I think that if you looked at it really fairly and you said you got these 500,000 people here that work in the farms in South Jersey and are in the back of restaurants and you're trying to control costs and all of these things, I think you'd come to a reasonable conclusion that we need to deal with these people in a responsible, thoughtful sort of way, and that's what we're trying to do.
Well, I think we kind of are, right? I mean,
you're saying
you've been
deport,
following
deport.
No, that's not exactly what I'm saying. I think that everyone should be under the threat of deportation that shouldn't be here. But the point is that Donald Trump's system is working without having to back up the buses that Democrats told us were coming, throwing people in the back in the middle of the night and drive into the border, right? Interceptions at the border have dropped off dramatically. A lot of people are going back home on their own because they're recognizing that the proverbial jig is up. So I guess let me ask you this question, only because I want to keep us moving.
Yeah.
Because there's more we want to get to.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that as governor, you would support maintaining New Jersey as a sanctuary jurisdiction. You'd support that immigrant trust bill.
The immigrant trust bill I would support. I think it's important.
Which codifies sanctuary statehood.
Well, it codifies a lot of the things that are there today that protect immigrants. I don't know what the terminology is that's specifically in it, but the Immigrant Trust Act basically says that your state and municipal government will have some responsible parameters around how they deal with the federal government, and due process is important. I just want to say, when ICE was doing their raids in that first week of the Trump administration, and I think, it's to be determined how this all works out. It's only been 60 days. I don't even think we're at the 100-day mark yet of his administration. So it's hard to say it's working or not working. Same with tariffs, right? I mean,
immigration, I get your point, but I think immigration's a little easier to see because we have a way to track it, right? We know whether people are coming in, whether they're not coming in, because we're finally paying attention.
I've lost 10% of my net worth since he took office. I could track it pretty easily.
All right. Well, see that little jar over there with cash in it? We use it for swearing, but you can. Yeah, it's the least I can do.
Look,
I also bought you a Diet Coke.
You did. It was very
I'm
very
not
kind
reporting
to you.
that as a campaign contribution.
It was very kind to you. That is truth. So going back to what you were saying about this immigrant conversation, I was just going to say that my dad's deli. So my dad had a deli, and my mom had an immigration services business in Newark growing up.
Right.
They retired, and their income comes from this 4-unit building that was the immigration services business, and it was raided by ICE. They went apartment, 15 of them, with the helmets and the vests and the whole show, looking for somebody. And in those 4 units is a public school teacher for Irvington, a Army veteran, a lawyer that does immigration services, and an electrical contractor with the state of New Jersey. They searched. They didn't arrest anybody. But, there is entitlement to due process and search warrants. Those are things, you're a lawyer. Those are things that are important for everybody in this country. So I think one of the things that concerns everybody is the way that this is happening.
So I'm all about the rule of law, right? I mean, I've been horrified over the past 4 years with what I've seen happen to our justice system in many respects. But we do know with federal immigration law, because immigration law is primarily the prerogative of the federal government, it works a little bit different. Like, for example, ICE doesn't always need a warrant depending upon the context of the raid.
Well, I'm going to tell you that they searched apartments in my father's building with no warrant, no due process, and they didn't arrest anybody. And it's a slippery slope until that happens to the Rooney house in South Jersey here. I mean, it's a slippery slope.
Well, the Democrats would love to deport me to Pennsylvania. So hopefully you can prevent that. You don't want me?
Nope.
I was planning on staying at your place. There you go. I'll show up at Shapiro's mansion claiming refugee status. let's keep rolling here because we got more stuff that we got to get to. And we do have, what we're going to do, Mayor, is we have some questions from YouTube.
Yeah.
So in a little bit here, Dan's going to pull some off. You've been keeping track, right, Daniel?
I was supposed to? Yes, I have them. Yes, I've been writing them. I've been following. Yes, I have.
I appreciate it.
Gen Z. Which, by the way, speaking of Gen Z, let me slip this one here real quick. Phil Murphy has endorsed allowing 16-year-olds to vote in school board elections. Yay or nay?
It's fine. It's good.
You're fine with it?
Yeah. What's your problem with it?
What's my problem with it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, let's start with the fact that you're pitting parents once again against their kid, right?
Why?
Because a kid is going to school all day, a 16-year-old, and they're hearing their teacher presumably not want to have their budget cut, right? And then they go home and they're going to vote against their parent who's paying the property taxes?
Wait, so you're saying they're going to hear from their teacher one side, and then they're going to hear their parents another side, and they're going to vote against their parents?
They may, yeah, sure.
Well,
it's 16.
Why would they not vote against their teachers? And why doesn't the same logic apply to voting against your teachers?
Well, you were previously actually against this idea.
You know, I was skeptical of it. I was very skeptical of it.
You said
initially.
you were comfortable with 18 being
I was.
the age.
I was. And then, you know, I don't really necessarily see an issue at the 16. So I was concerned. I'm not going to lie to you. I was concerned about it. And I said, for school board elections, let's give it a try. I don't really see necessarily the big issue around it. If it's a May election, it's its own day. We could control it, see what the participation is like. And 16-year-olds are actually pretty engaged. They're pretty conscious of what's happening more than you'd think. I don't see an issue with it. And people's voting habits start to develop when they're young. So getting somebody engaged and registered, it's a good thing for everybody, I think.
What about a 16-year-old that tells their teacher, you know, my name is Steven Fulop, but I want to change my name to Mary Fulop?
Okay.
Should that teacher tell the parent
I think
what the child told them?
Well, what do you think?
What do I tell them? Absolutely. It's a minor. If my child is having some kind of, and that's setting aside for a second how you feel about the transgender issue.
Yeah.
If my child goes to a teacher and says anything other than my parent is abusing me, I need help.
Yep.
I think that teacher has a obligation, that school district has an obligation to let me know my child's going through something so that I can help my child.
Yeah, I think you need to be a little bit more sensitive to it, and it's a little bit more nuanced. I think that, you know, we could talk about the transgender community in particular. I mean, that's kind of the focal point where people kind of touch on that. My view is that is a community that has higher drug use, higher suicide, child homelessness, a lot of really scary things. And as a parent, you're a parent. We touched on that earlier. We both have young kids.
Yeah.
You know, I want my child to be safe amongst everything else. That's the number one priority, right? And so if the child has felt comfortable telling a teacher or somebody in school and they don't feel comfortable telling me, I think there's probably a reason why they feel that way. And we all need to be respectful of that, because the impact that it can have by outing somebody prematurely could be dramatically worse, okay? And so I get it. The talking point is, yeah, I want to know what's happening with my child everywhere they go. But I think the reality of the situation is that you could trigger something that could be harmful for that child, which is far worse. So for me, I'm comfortable with the fact that in a code of silence that they've trusted a teacher with something, and we should be mindful, particularly around this.
So something you do, which is very clever, and I don't mean this to sound as nasty as it is. I'm just evaluating
It's going to sound bad. I mean, I don't know. We just met, Matt.
Because I was going to say, I've never seen it. You do the thing where you say talking point, right? I understand that talking point. I mean, what we're talking about here is parental rights, right?
No,
it's a pretty.
We're talking about safety of children. Is what we're talking about.
It's enshrined in the United States Constitution that parents generally have prerogative to raise their children. I mean, I was a family law attorney for many years, right?
Of course.
So the implication that I resent here, because I hear what you're saying. If a kid goes to a teacher and says,
social worker, teacher, whatever,
my dad's a drunk, he's been beating me, my mother's molesting me, 100%. But just because a child decides to tell a teacher something doesn't mean that the parent's going to beat the child, right? I think as a parent, if my child is going through a psychological crisis, that I should be involved in that. And I don't think the state, because that's what a public school is, right? It's the government should step into that role and usurp my authority. And I think that a lot of New Jerseyans that you want to represent agree with that, even if they think that trans is a thing.
I get it. I get it that the polling would say X, Y, Z. I think that, you know, a child being comfortable to come out or even suggest that they're different than their peers is a very difficult conversation for them to have. It's not a comfortable thing or an easy thing. and it happens incrementally. It happens slowly. And so if they feel the most comfortable person to try and test and have the conversation with is a social worker or a teacher, right? And then the teacher violates that circle of trust in that situation. So it's a different type of experience we're talking about. It violates that circle of trust and then tells other people in a way that compromise that student. There's a lot of data that speaks to what that child could potentially do to themselves to harm themselves. So I think when you think about it as a bigger picture, you need to be more careful about it. I get the parental rights conversation. I don't mean to say it's a talking point, but I think that we need to
Well, I'm also trying to help you here because I think you're the one Democrat in the race that is genuine.
I appreciate
that.
I
think you believe what you're telling me.
Yeah, I believe what I'm telling you.
And I think whether we're talking about tariffs or talking about this, I think it's important to remember there are a lot of New Jerseyans that completely disagree with you. And if the latest election results are any indication, it's getting close to 50%.
Yeah.
And this is one that folks like myself feel very strongly about.
Yes.
I would never be cruel to my child if they came to me and said that they're going through something, but I want to be involved.
But a lot of parents are not like you in that situation. A lot of parents, and there's data around this. So it's not just Democrats, but there's a lot of data around parents would not be as understanding as what you just said. Most would not be. And if you speak to a parent,
but isn't that already like if a parent's going to beat a child, we already have laws against that.
But it may not be.
Right?
It may not be physical abuse. It could end up being mental abuse that leads to homelessness, that leads to all other things. But it's clearly there's a lot of data that does suggest the fact that somebody trusting somebody and coming out is a slow process and it's incremental. And I think that you should be mindful and respectful of that. I don't think you could classify this conversation as everything else with regards to parental rights, and how you feel about your kids and accepting them and understanding them is not the way everybody else would feel about it. I talked to some.
Well, exactly right. Different parents have different sensibilities.
But you got to err on the side of caution, because if somebody could harm them, if the worst outcome is somebody gets harmed, you need to be cautious around that.
See, this is exactly where you and I differ, and that's fine, right? It's a big country, but I believe you should err on the side of the rights of parents, right? Especially since, respectfully, I have not seen the data which shows that large scores of New Jerseyans are going to start beating their children.
No, it's not only it's not physical abuse. It could be mental. It could be social. Like, I've spoken to a lot of parents of transgender children.
Well, a lot of people don't believe trans is a thing. Well, I mean, respectfully, I don't believe that trans is a thing.
I'll answer that in a second. But you speak to a lot of parents of transgender kids, and people confront that conversation in a lot of different ways. Okay. Some of them are reluctant to accept it.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are in denial.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them grow angry towards their children. Some of them accept it outright. It's a complicated situation, and there's a lot of uncertainty around how that parent will react. And I think that is the intention of being cautious and thoughtful around what we share and how we share it. With regards to whether transgender people exist, I'm going to tell you respectfully, since the beginning of time, there have been people that have dressed differently, acted differently. That we may not have called them the same transgender in the same definition, but to say that.
But here's the thing:
Matt, it's not a fair statement for you to say that.
No, it is fair because listen, the fact that let's say we leave here tonight and we say, great interview, let's go have some fun. We both put on dresses and decide to go to a bar. We're adults, no problem with that. We live in a free society.
Yeah,
that choice that we just made doesn't make you or I a woman. Right? You're still Steve Fulop. I'm still Matt Rooney. That's the problem here. It's not a matter of being cruel to anybody. It's not about infringing upon an adult's right to live the life they want to live. But we're humans. We're not frogs. We don't have the ability to change our gender. And if it's subjective, I mean, I'm not trying to be cute. I mean, like, you've seen that episode of South Park?
No.
Where what was it, Stan, Dan? Do you remember that episode? Or was it Kenny? They put a fin on his back and said he was a dolphin?
Well, Kenny dies every episode, so it's probably Stan.
Well, that's true. That's probably a bad example. But seriously, though, I mean, I want to understand the science, and I've never had it explained to me.
So let me say that I know that people always go to this extreme setting of saying, well, whatever that South Park sort of example would be, that somebody says, I'm going to be this, and then, okay, we all got to define this. What I would say is that prior to the last 3 years, okay, where we've used the transgender community as a punching bag, which is a scary thing. Whenever there is a problem, particularly now at the federal level, wherever there's something that's detrimental or scary. Look, on Friday, they did an executive order criminalizing something regarding transgender parents, right? Why? Because it was a tough day, tariffs. We energized the base by vilifying this community, okay? But if you go back 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, 100 years, there have always been transgender people, and it has never been an issue on whether these people exist or they don't exist. This is a new phenomenon.
I disagree with that entirely. I think that's not how.
It's true. It's true what I'm saying.
That's not how it was packaged, because we need. Look, this is how the leftist coalition works, right? We have to create new groups that are victims.
Stop it.
Instead of just whatever happened. You and I are roughly. How old are you?
47.
Okay, so you're not that much older than I'm 40, right?
Yeah.
What happened to?
It's wild
listen,
that I'm almost 50.
It's depressing. I know. Be happy in the skin that you're in. If you're a boy and you like to do girl things, if you like to wear a dress, vice versa for a girl, just be happy the way God made you. Isn't that a healthier way to raise children? Doesn't that
let me just
decrease
say,
the risk of mental illness?
Look, you're saying being uncomfortable in the skin that you are in, that you were born on, and not feeling that you're in the proper gender is a thing. And for you to say, hey,
which has always been the case, people have always felt uncomfortable.
For you to say, hey, just feel comfortable is the same thing as saying to somebody who suffers from depression, just be happy. It is what it is. It's not a real thing.
That's not true.
No, it is true. It is true, because you're minimizing something that is a real thing and just saying, you know what, just be different.
No, I'm glad you said that, because if somebody's depressed, we don't try to alter their reality for them. We work with them through medication, through talk therapy, through different types of intervention to help them deal with reality. Right? That's how we treat depression. We don't say, you know what, maybe you'd be happier if you pretended you were something else.
No, you're convoluting two different totally things. Depression,
I just went where you went.
No, I know. What my example around depression was just saying, don't be this.
Okay.
But when somebody's depressed, you deal with it in a way with medication, with science, with research. You don't just say you're not depressed. It's a very similar situation. It's apples to apples here. In that situation that you're saying that there is a real scientific history here and a track record of this stuff, and all of a sudden this talking point is that this type of person doesn't exist. It's never been a conversation before the last 3 or 4 years, because Republicans, and I say this not respectfully, but they have vilified this community unfairly. And you know what?
I have no hate in my heart for anyone.
I'm not saying
what I don't like is and look, Dan's giving me the high sign because we want to get to some questions.
We're going to get to questions in a second. I want to just say one thing on this, Dan. Okay, it is such a small segment of the population, and the disproportionate amount of time that Republicans focus on this small subsegment should be an alarm to you of saying, why are we doing that?
Well, it's very simple, because the fundamental job of any society is to worry about the next generation of citizens. So if children are being preyed upon, like, for example, by a medical industry that makes a ton of money off of changing children's gender when they're not old enough to make any profound decisions for the rest of their life. We're going to have you back sometime just to talk about this issue, if you're willing to do it.
Yeah, of course.
Because I do enjoy talking to you.
Yeah.
We're talking to Mayor Steve Fulop. He's one of the candidates for governor for the Democrat Party in New Jersey this year. Dan, I know we ran long. Let's get to as many of these questions as we can.
Yeah, so I just want to preface, these questions are not from me. So
they're all from social media.
Correct.
Right?
They are all from social media and our YouTube chat. So they are none from me. I'm staying out of this as I'm just the producer of the show and I have nothing in this game. So first
disclaimer.
First question is from Twitter at Jim Kiernan2. You take credit for all things good in Jersey City. How much federal, state, and county aid does Jersey City receive to accomplish all those good things? Jersey City government and schools reap more money. Hundreds of towns and school districts are losing it, causing higher taxes.
Guy's a cheerleader for Jersey City, I see. What would I tell you? I would say, look, we are a very complicated city. There are high poverty rates in Jersey City, very high percentage of free and reduced lunch. On the city side, last I checked, we roughly has about $70 million at risk from federal subsidies. But the biggest driver of our budget are property taxes, and I think we've been very responsible with it. So it's been a great Renaissance story. I'm very proud of it, and I think that you should come visit.
Chris Ebolito on YouTube says, as governor, would you contest President Trump and support New Jersey being a sanctuary state, also encouraging sanctuary cities?
I think Matt touched on that. I am a supporter of the Immigrant Trust Act. Jersey City is a sanctuary city, and I think that Phil Murphy has done some good things around the immigration conversation. But we touched on this, I think, for 20 minutes.
Yeah. Suze Loves Jeffy, would you continue to support the wind turbines?
I think it's a moot point because the president's not supportive of wind energy. So I think that is not going to move forward. But I'll tell you this, that last I checked, there were 7 regions in New Jersey that were up for auction. And one of them is the one that's controversial, that's visible from LBI and Jersey Shore. And I do not think that New Jersey should be pursuing that particular zone for wind energy. I think that the shore is a very, very precious asset for New Jersey. The other regions that are not visible from the shoreline, I do think alternative energy is important. And I think we do need to invest in it. But I don't think it's going to happen in the next 3 years because President Trump has not been supportive of that.
Right, and let's see another one from Twitter. Janine Daly, I think I'm pronouncing that right. Why do you still block critics on your social media platforms despite claiming otherwise?
Well, if somebody says something that I believe is racist, personal attack, doesn't adhere to basic cordial rules as it relates to attacking other people or whatnot, and they operate behind anonymous names, then I take the liberty sometimes to restrict them. And if they want to become unanonymous and respect other people in the dialogue and have a conversation, then that's a different way to approach it. And I'm happy to have them part of it. There are plenty of people on my Twitter feed that are critics, and you could see it for yourself. So I'm very careful. If I do block somebody, it's a very rare thing.
You got to talk to Cory Booker because I'm still blocked. And yeah, can I be a little obnoxious? Yes, but none of it's racist or over the line. So I still don't understand why you blocked me. You haven't blocked me, obviously.
I've not blocked you.
Yeah,
I did a while ago.
You did a while ago,
Yeah,
but that's a personal thing between you and I. Yep.
Another one from Chris Ebolito. Would you repeal the plastic bag ban?
No.
You just lost our audience on that one.
I know. Listen,
he's a nice guy, folks. I don't know what to tell you. He's wrong about it.
I mean, listen. Here's the situation. I mean, we're down the road on this already, and the reality is that the plastic bags were like tumbleweeds in urban areas everywhere, and they are not productive as it relates to the environment. And I think we're already down the road on this, and I think it would be foolish to reverse ship.
Why have a statewide ban, though? Because we can go back and forth about the studies. I've seen studies suggest it doesn't work. Well, if Jersey City doesn't want them, let Jersey City ban them. Let me have them in South Jersey.
It was originally in Jersey City, so
yeah,
you know that, and
right.
and that was fine. I can't speak to the statewide, but I think that if Governor Murphy was trying to change people's habits so that they have, reusable bags in their car, then you have to have a statewide policy. So thus he did it, implemented it.
People have to bring them in now when they come down the Jersey Shore in the summer from Pennsylvania and other places they come from.
Yes, I get it. I get it. People
I'm just saying, I either need plastic bags or I need you to come and help me with my groceries some weeks.
I got it.
You know how much these kids eat. Our kids are roughly the same age.
Yeah. Do you have stuff in your car, the reusable bags?
Yeah, and they're terrible.
But you have them in the car, so it has changed. So it has worked in the sense that you've changed your habits in a way that's more productive.
But not more productive though, because sometimes you forget them. Sometimes you have something that when you put it in there, it gets kind of gross, right? Like you're picking up some meat product at the supermarket, it leaks, right? That's not exactly sanitary.
Yeah, but the goal was to get a person like Matt Rooney to change his habits and to have a reusable bag in his car. And you may not like it, but it has been successful in that it's changed your habits. And that is a good thing, macro. I know people don't like it, but it has worked in that way.
Always changing people's habits.
Well, I mean, look.
I feel like a rat in a maze whenever I'm talking to one of my Democrat friends, you know?
All right.
It's all good. This is great stuff for your primary race.
It's good.
Going back to the questions from They Thems One on YouTube, how do you feel about the dismantling of the DOJ?
The DOE or the DOJ?
DOJ.
DOJ. I guess maybe they're referring to firings at the DOJ.
Some of them are more federal related, but I just put them all on. But if you want to skip the federal ones and try and stick to the
what
local
does the
ones.
person mean with regarding the dismantling? Like meaning that you have what? Meaning what? Like a new U.S. attorney in New Jersey? I mean, what are we talking about?
Maybe he thinks they're being defanged or something like that. I'm guessing.
Didn't
what
elaborate.
This
just
is.
asked. We can skip it if you would prefer. If that's if there's really no direction towards
Well,
it.
we can ask this about U.S. aid. Elon Musk. I'm sure Elon Musk is going to come
Well,
up
the ne-
about 10 billion times.
Well, the
in
next
the
one is
primary.
will you try to block DOGE?
There you go.
So
the concept of DOGE, okay? So the efficiency in government is a good thing.
Right.
So I think everybody likes that idea without the cruelty, okay? The cruelty is a big problem and some of the stupidity around it. But the concept of let's try to find efficiency and inefficiency is a good thing. I don't think Democrats have a problem with that. I think their problem is the fact that you're coming in with this big machete and there's components of it that seem very cruel to vulnerable people, right? So when you're talking about people are scared about Social Security now, people are scared about Medicaid now, people are scared about things that they rely upon, and that is the crux of DOGE as an issue.
But people are getting their checks. I mean, most the access.
For now.
I know, but we're worried about a hypothetical problem. I mean, yes, if you're a federal worker in Northern Virginia that hasn't reported to work in a year, and we can't quite figure out what it is you do, your job's on the line. And certainly, I don't wish you any ill, but I'd rather have those tax dollars back in New Jersey, right? God knows where you have need for them.
So that example that you just said is a good thing, okay? When they say, okay, we have people that are getting Social Security checks that are 150 years old. I don't know if that's true, but if that's true, good thing that they shouldn't be happening. There's definitely waste and fraud, no question about it.
So you see some value to DOGE.
Yeah,
as a Democrat.
The concept's a good thing, but the cruelty, the problem is that it feels today that you are singling out different vulnerable communities with total disregard for the fact that they rely on some of these things. Okay.
Would you consider a modified version of DOGE for New Jersey as governor?
In 2019, okay, and I posted this at one point. In 2019, we started an internal audit department in Jersey City. So we have 9 people that work for that, and their sole job is finding inefficiencies. Same sort of thing, How many court cases do our judges adjudicate per week? How do we handle our parking tickets? How do we refine this? Where's the waste? That's all they do, okay? And so this concept of thinking about efficiency in government is not a new thing for anybody. The idea
maybe in Washington, D.C. it is.
Well, in Washington, D.C. it is.
But
and
point
I think
taken.
Washington, D.C. it is. And I think that being that they've come at some of these entitlement programs that some people do rely upon, not to say that there's not problems with some of them, but I think the cruelty is really what has people concerned.
Is it the concern that they're not going to be there unless we take steps to cut the fat, make sure that we have the resources to continue to fund these programs?
Meaning what's not going to be there?
Well, as I see, you have to do one of two things, right? You either have to cut government spending generally, or you have to engage in some type of, some might say, draconian entitlement reforms that would be wildly unpopular, right? Cutting back on people's entitlement to certain federal programs based upon age. So if you're not going to do that,
which they're not,
then you have to do something like DOGE, right?
Well,
and find savings elsewhere.
Well, I think that you look at, let's take a step back. What's happening in New Jersey, right? So directly related to DOGE and these cuts, you're seeing hospitals and healthcare systems pare back services, which are going to have a huge impact on delivery of services to vulnerable communities and viability of hospitals long-term for all residents in New Jersey. So I think there's some real impact to what you're suggesting as far as just paring back some of these programs that's going to impact a New Jerseyan that doesn't necessarily rely on those programs, but is going to have a huge impact because they're not being as careful as they should be. And that's the crux of the concern. People are scared, and they're rightfully scared because they rely on these programs, and the impacts of them on other things that they rely upon are very scary for people.
I'll tell you what's not scary. It is heartening that when I put out kind of a general challenge on X that, hey, if any Democrats have the intestinal fortitude to come on the program and have a conversation, you said yes.
Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun.
I think it's part of the problem, and this is something we could probably agree on as we wrap up here. I think we're 9:03. We went way late, right, Dan?
Yeah, I was going to ask one more than
Yeah. I think it's a good thing because it's getting harder and harder to have a conversation. And that's probably another thing you and I disagree on, right?
Yep.
I think a lot of the wokeness, political correctness, it's made it difficult through the language for us to have a conversation. I know some of your ex-followers were critical immediately after you announced you were coming on here. Oh, Rooney supports, closing the border. He's a xenophobe. Well, no, maybe Matt just disagrees with Steve. Likewise, I profoundly disagree with a lot of what you said tonight. But I think you believe it, right?
Yeah.
I don't think you want to make New Jersey a dumpster fire. What do you propose in New Jersey and beyond to be able to make it so that we can have more of these types of conversations? Mikey's never coming on, but
it's funny. It's funny you said that. So I go to this fundraiser in Nashville for Gold Star families, and it's run by an organization that Jersey City was the first to support. It's ex-Special Forces people that do active shooter training. We invested a lot of money in Jersey City in it. We were their first customer. It's a huge national company now. And then they do this fundraiser for, Gold Star families. So I go down to Nashville, and there's some country singers. It's about 200-300 people. There was a great event. And one of the people who were sitting at a table, 3 tables next to me, it was Kid Rock, okay? And guy from the Special Forces, SEAL Team 6, says to me, he goes, Steve, do you want to meet Kid Rock? I was kind of indifferent at the time, right? His name's Bob, so I guess he goes by Bob. So they say, you want to meet Bob? I said, indifferent. I said, oh, we're going to get Bob. So Bob comes over. He says, hey, you're the mayor of Jersey City. I said, yeah. He goes, I'm going to tell you something. I used to live in Jersey City. I said, get out of here. He goes, yeah. And then he tells me the building that he lived in. I said, why were you living in Jersey City? He was like, I was trying to make it in New York, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So we take a picture together, okay? And I don't post anything other than the fact that Kid Rock used to live in Jersey City, okay? And I got a lot of pushback.
Oh, I could
on
imagine on your social media.
And I said, you know what? I didn't say anything about his politics. There's a lot of things he says that I think are vile and disagree. He suggested we take a picture. He lived in Jersey City, and I was the mayor of Jersey City. And I think that speaks to a little bit of where the dialogue is today, unfortunately, that sometimes people don't want to hear the other side at all. And I'm thankful you invited me, and I was thankful to be here, and I really enjoyed the conversation. I really did.
Likewise, we've been talking to Jersey City Mayor Steven Fulop, Democrat running for governor. Why don't you tell everyone where we can find you online?
You could find me on X, formerly known as Twitter. You could find me on Instagram, all under Steven Fulop, Facebook, or on my website, StevenFulop.com. And for the Democrats that are listening, all 3 of you, please remember to vote in the primary on June 10th.
A few more than that. Have faith. Mayor, thank you, sir.
Thank
really
you.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Really appreciate it, Matt. Thank you.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Piazza Auto Group Studios, experience the power of one with 8 brands and 25 locations. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 1039 FM.
Bucks County officials are mourning the death of a beloved county employee who was killed with his 2 sons on Amtrak train tracks. Spark Therapeutics, a pioneer in gene therapy, is cutting more than half its workforce from its University City headquarters, and voting is underway to select a permanent location for the Philadelphia Portal.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out collection letters, garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it even harder to get out of debt. Don't let tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in taxpayer assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Let them fight on your behalf, helping to put your tax problems to rest. Call the tax professionals at Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354
800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Dawn Stensland here. Porsche Delaware, part of Piazza Premium Automobiles, is so proud to announce its newly expanded maintenance and reconditioning services, offering specialized care for classic Porsches, as well as general maintenance services for domestic and premium brands. Whether it's tires, brakes, oil changes, Porsche Delaware's experienced team will keep your vehicle performing at its best. They also offer complimentary valet pickup and drop-off. Schedule your service. PorscheDelaware.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
This is Larry Steinhaus, and did you know that I buy houses in any condition? That's right, I buy hoarder houses, I buy trashed houses, I buy burnt-out houses, or even houses with bad tenants. If you are a tired landlord, or you inherited a property, or you just have a property you don't want, give me a call at 855-939-1137, and I will personally answer the phone and make you a full-price offer. That's 855-939-1137. Don't suffer with that property anymore.
Pastor Brad Lacey here, First Baptist Church, Conshohocken. Join us Saturdays for the great message and be blessed. 5 a.m. right here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
When you enter a place of business, you're owed a legal duty, that the place of business is safe for you to shop in. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you suffered an injury at a place of business, our duty is to protect you after that harm. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, millions of men experience ED, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. At HIMSS, our own board-certified urologist, Dr. Peter Stahl, knows this better than anyone, and he knows that HIMSS can help.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, Senior Vice President of Men's Sexual Health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS.
Through HIMSS.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs. Options at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/joy. To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% less than brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
Free speech lives here. With Dom Giordano weekdays noon till 3 on Odyssey's #1 talk station, 1210 WPHT.
Our numero trace of trace for our bilingual listeners here at the Matt Rooney Show. Welcome back. Happy, pleased. I don't want to say pleasured, but overall joyful and tickled that you're with us for tonight's program, ladies and gentlemen. 855-839-1210 is the number over on YouTube. YouTube.com/@1210 WPHT. And then, of course, as we said in the first hour of tonight's program, let me fix my headphones here for a second. There we go. For a moment, it was like David Bowie and Starman. Felt like I was in a fish tank. We now have the Matt Rooney podcast live. That's right. What you've been pining for years has finally arrived. Head over to Odyssey.com/@1210.
I can't tell you the amount of people who would ask me, when is Matt going to get a podcast? I want to listen to a show on a Thursday. When can I get a show on a Thursday? When are we going to get it? And I said, be patient.
Every time you go to the supermarket, to the petrol station.
Yep. Every time they're like, you're that Dan fella from the Matthew Rooney show. And I'm like, yeah, that's me. Like, don't get too excited now.
Don't get too excited.
And then they asked me about the podcast. And I'm like,
yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. Like we just had in the last segment, if you're just joining us, an entire hour with Democrat gubernatorial candidate Steve Fulop. He's one of the 6 main Democrats running for the Democrat nomination in the Dirty Jers this year. We've got lots of people in New Jersey that want to listen, right? But some of them are a little outside of 1210's range. Now it's going to be even easier for them to listen. You can always check us out on YouTube, of course.
YouTube has no range.
YouTube has no range. The internet is everywhere. But we like to give people the maximum number of options. So for now, go over to youtube.com/@1210WPHT. Give us a like if you're feeling generous. Luckily, we still have more program this evening. Came into the 9 o'clock hour a little late, though, because we were trying to get to as many of your questions as we could for Steve Fulop while we still had him in the station. On the Matt Rooney Show, we're fine having Democrats on. We're going to go back and forth with them, and I think we did, right?
Yeah.
But we had an actual conversation. I dare you to find anything like that anywhere else on the radio in 2025. You won't. You won't. It's the kind of conversation that America needs. Now, I'm sure the good mayor thought he made good points. He definitely is an articulate guy. I think when you have a conversation with someone on the left, oftentimes they reveal their priorities. Like, for example, even though I respect them for coming in, you constantly heard him talking about, well, we need to make sure that we accustom people to doing this. We want Matt Rooney to get used to not having to be able to buy a plastic bag and having a reusable bag. It's all about trying to control you, more or less. Now, in the case of Steve Fulop, I believe that he is a man of the left. He seems like a reasonably honest guy on the left, and that's what he actually believes. He believes government is a force for good in the world. Yours truly, I have a very different vision. I believe in people, and I believe in you having maximum freedom. And
anarchy.
Well, Dan is for anarchy.
Like the purge.
Like the purge.
We should, honestly.
You're a purger.
Honestly.
A purgist.
If I was not such a B word, I'd be like, let's have a purge like once every 5 years.
You'd be down for that?
I would 100% be down for
that. I mean,
that.
Philadelphia is basically already
it's basically
the
a purge, but I'm saying like a countrywide, or it's just like, maybe not 12 hours, maybe like 2 hours.
I don't know if you would do too well, though, bud.
I never said I'd be participating. I'd be bunkered down.
But isn't that the point, though? Don't you really not have a choice? People break in, and
Not really.
I mean, I'm familiar with the premise of the movie. I don't think I've ever watched
It's just
one of them all the way
it's
through.
just all crime is legal for it's either 12 or 24 hours.
Right. I'm saying a precious little thing like you, I don't think is going to last long.
Probably. I'd probably snap immediately.
I'm not saying I'm going to do too well either.
Bend me over their knee and just.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Okay, that was an image. Hey, now.
No, come on.
Oh, you knew what you were doing.
No, they snap you like a stick. Come on.
You knew what you were doing.
Get your mind out of the gutter. You're talking to a 17-year-old.
We forged your work papers.
Yeah.
To get you here on the station.
That's my go-to thing every time that I don't know what I'm doing. It's always my first saying I'm 17. They're like, oh, I'm sorry.
Just back off.
Yeah. It's kind of like the Gen Z girls are just like, I'm just a girl. That's kind of like my thing now.
That's kind of your thing. I'm just 17.
I'm just 17, and it's my first day here, so I don't know what I'm doing.
Bless your heart, Daniel. So remember, one more time, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. Head on over there. Chris, Suze Loves Jeffy still hanging out. Who else is there? Mangle's still there. Dave Hargrave. He's saying he stopped buying any Nike stuff 5 years ago. I think that's a reference to Steve Fulop talking about how we'd have to spend like $500 on Nikes.
Yes.
With tariffs and with, illegal immigration changes and whatnot. But Dave hasn't worn Nikes in a long time. It's true. We don't put
I don't
Nikes.
either.
We don't put Nikes on the kids.
I do Vans.
Yeah.
Or New Balance.
Yeah, I like New Balance shoes. I haven't worn them in a while. Right now I'm wearing Hey Dude.
The boat shoes.
Yeah, the boat shoes. I'm a big fan of the boat shoes.
The modern frat boy sneaker.
That's kind of me, kind of a modern frat boy.
Nope, never put you and frat boy in the same sentence. But
Why is that?
Nope, that's okay.
No, go ahead. Tell me.
We can continue.
Make your little comment.
I don't have one. Just like Democrats don't have points. I don't have one. Did you know about the hands off for Trump or hands off Trump protest yesterday?
So I saw that, and there was a large protest in Boston.
There's also a
few thousand hippies got together.
There's also a large protest in front of City Hall.
Really?
Yeah.
Do we have audio?
No.
Oh, that would have been a nice segue.
I was working an event yesterday in the city, and it was where I was. I could look out the window, and it was there. And also, speaking of that event, I saw Nancy Pelosi there.
Did you really?
I did. I was doing my little video thing, and she just happened to walk by, just do a little shuffle, like she was old and didn't know what she was doing. But
You've seen all the stars. The Hawk Tuah girl, Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah, I saw Steven Spielberg.
Basically the same person, just a slight age gap. Yeah,
I saw Steven Spielberg at that same place. So yeah.
Oh, now that's cool.
Yeah.
Even though he's a lib, Steven Spielberg has actually contributed something to the world.
No, but Nancy Pelosi got like the biggest applause. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then she started walking by, just a little.
Yeah.
She kind of like scooted, like a little old person. Couldn't really walk.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah.
I didn't say hi because I really didn't care. I was doing my job.
Chris over on YouTube says, Matt, I really wanted you to slam him on the Nike point, like, now do medicine. Yeah, no, I get it. Look, so here's the thing, just for everybody knows for the Fulop interview. What I wanted to do tonight is what you never really get to see anywhere. I didn't want to debate him, right? I mean, we went back and forth. You heard it. We disagree on a lot of different stuff. Probably just about everything in terms of the major issues that are currently in the public debate. But, you know, you guys know my style by this point, right? I mean, I'll hang with anybody, but it's not my job to tell you what to think. I want to expose you to different ideas, different candidates, different movements, different everything, right? And ask the questions that I think reveal the answers you need to make your own mind up, if that makes any sense, right? So, you know, I've never been a fan of those programs. I'm thinking of one right now. It rhymes with on Anity, who basically just yells at the guest the entire time, whether conservative, liberal, somewhere in between. It's just not my style, right? I'm a courtroom attorney. I'm a litigator. I'll fight anybody all day, every day if I have to. But what I want to do is I want to have a conversation, an honest conversation. One where there's lots of disagreement, right? But that's what I think is missing. Nationally, 100%, but also in media. Who wants to live in an echo chamber? The echo chamber only serves the left because their ideas don't stand up well against anyone else's. They don't, right? They can't survive when they're forced to compete in the free market of ideas. That's why we know the leftists have targeted our schools. They've targeted our institutions of higher learning. For those of you that aren't watching on YouTube, I'm doing air quotes. They're going for the kids because they know if they have a monopoly on the streams of communication and education, that's the only way they can win. Adults that have not been manipulated by the left, if you can magically find such a person, right, stands very little chance of falling for their nonsense once their brain is fully formed. So just throwing that out there. That's my style. I hope you enjoyed it either way. And I should say that the offer stands. If there's any other Democrats out there, I don't think most of them have the intestinal fortitude to come on here. Mikey Sherrill, Josh Gottheimer, any of them. Steve Sweeney, you're more than welcome. We will set it up and we will have a chat with you just like we did with Mayor Steve Fulop here on the Matt Rooney Show. Again, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. Let's take a time out to play some ads, make some money, and we'll be back with more of the program in just a moment.
Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
For a complete list of Talk Radio 1210 WPHT's contest rules, go to 1210WPHT.com/rules.
Did you know phony radio talk show host Bill Spadia compared President Trump to Neville Chamberlain, the former Prime Minister of England known for his weakness and appeasement of Hitler? That's right, Neville Chamberlain. Spadia said Trump was, quote, beaten. He's tired. Trump gave, quote, the Neville Chamberlain speech tonight. He would have been better off resigning, unquote. Trump resign? Not a chance. Spadia is a disgrace. Now listen to Spadia attack Trump.
President Trump failed. His presidency was a failure. I do not want President Trump to run again.
Bill Spadia compares President Trump to Neville Chamberlain, calls him a failure. In the Republican primary for governor, vote no to Bill Spadia. Paid for by Kitchen Table Conservatives, Inc. Not authorized or made with the cooperation or prior consent of or in consultation with or at the request or suggestion of any candidate or any person or committee acting on behalf of any candidate. P.O. Box 2891, Springfield, Virginia 22152.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-515-1865. 800-515-1865. 800-515-1865.
Be sure to follow Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
No, Margaret, I'm not filling in for Rich Zioli on Friday, April 11th. That's what you just asked me over on the YouTube page. I do have, for those of you that think this is a good thing, or you don't think it's a good thing and you want to make some alternative plans accordingly, I do have some Zioli fill-in dates coming up. I won't say which ones because I don't want to get ahead of the program, but you will be seeing me back during the week in the very near future. Had a talk with Mr. Stocker about it. So more information on that soon.
It's tomorrow.
It's not tomorrow, sweetie. It's not tomorrow, Snookums.
And Margaret, to answer your question, no, Nancy did not have a walker, but she had like 4 A's with her.
In case she falls down.
In case she falls down. She was doing the old person shuffle.
Nancy does have some real Yoda tendencies at the moment.
Yeah,
but that ain't the wisdom, though.
Yeah,
the charm of Yoda.
And then another tech that I was working with was like,
if Yoda was like an old wino.
and then he reminded me of the Nancy Pelosi.
Drink Chardonnay, I will.
Yeah, the wine was flowing at that event. And then my coworkers, another tech, brought up the Nancy Pelosi beach picture. And I'm like, oh, I wanted to forget about that.
The Nancy Pelosi beach picture?
There was a picture of Nancy Pelosi going on online of her in like some bathing suit. You should probably look that up, but you also might be disgusted. So
I mean, how long ago Nancy Pelosi? I mean, she was quite handsome as a young lady.
Like recent.
Oh no, yeah, that's...
like last 8 years.
No. I mean, you're a big horror fan.
I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna send it to you.
No, do not do that. Although I shouldn't tell you this, it'd be funnier if you did it randomly during the week. Like right now, I'm looking for it, but if on like Wednesday I get a text from you and I'm thinking, oh, it's about next week's show, and there's Nancy Pelosi in a bathing suit, I'll never see it coming.
You don't answer me anyway.
That's not true. You texted me today, and I tried to. Hey, listen, I'll have you know, you texted me about tonight's show, and I was eating dinner with my wife and the kids, and she hates when I'm on the phone at the dinner table, as she should be. Right. It's not a good habit. And I reached for it, and she's like, don't reach for that phone. And I said, it's Dan. And she goes, okay.
I'm the exception.
So there you go.
I'm the exception.
There you go. You're the exception to many rules, my friend.
I don't even think what I texted you was important today.
Yeah, no, it was important. It was important.
Oh, it was. It was on my way here.
Yeah. So what else is going on out there in the world, folks? There's a few things. I don't know if you can tell. Do we have cut 8? Or is that after what you did?
It's after what I did, but I can play it.
I love this, folks. So this is a female disc golfer. I almost didn't play this because it's disc golf.
What's wrong with disc golf?
What's disc golf?
I play it.
It's not real golf.
Bella's dad and I play it.
Oh, well, Bella does it, then I guess I'll come around.
No. Bella does not.
Bella does not play.
Her dad and I do.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough.
Yeah.
So this is Abigail Wilson, a female disc golfer, who did what I think more women athletes are going to have to do. She stormed off.
Are these clean?
Yeah, it's clean.
Okay.
And refused to compete against a transgender opponent. Cut Ocho.
Gabby!
Yeah! And she walked right off.
Have a nice round, everyone.
We will.
Is that it?
Definitely will.
Love it. See, it's
That's uneventful.
Well, no, I mean it's starting to happen though more and more, Dan, all over the country, because women are deciding to stand up for themselves, stand up for their sports. This is where, the Democrats in New Jersey, I think they're going to be sorely disappointed if Republicans frame the argument correctly, right? And I think this is where, like, Steven Fulop and I disagree, and a lot of other Democrats were going to disagree. People don't care generally what adults do. If you're an adult, and I use the example with Steve Fulop and I, he didn't laugh, by the way. If we both put on dresses and went out after tonight's show, who cares, right? Consenting adults can generally do what consenting adults want to do, provided they don't transgress against other adults' lives.
Okay, I'm going to be.
But we're talking about children here.
I'm going to be controversial.
And we're talking about women's sports.
I'm going to be controversial. Is that okay?
You're going to be controversial?
I'm going to be controversial.
My only problem with you being controversial is when you do this, there should be some kind of music associated.
There's no music associated.
Like
with this.
Dun, 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 Dan is being controversial.
I'm sorry. There's no music against it.
Okay.
It's disc golf. How much more different can a guy and a girl be in disc golf? Unless we're going muscle mass, then you might have more muscle throwing it, or might have more force throwing it.
So that was going to be one of my questions. So disc golf, are you hitting a disc with something like a golf club, or are you throwing?
It's frisbee. It's literally it's frisbee golf.
I mean,
just throwing a frisbee.
Well, there's your answer, man. Like a man generally is stronger than a woman physically.
Right, but I'm saying there's probably a woman out there who can throw a frisbee harder than I can. Just like there's women out there who can throw a baseball harder.
Dan, there's women out there that can do everything stronger and better than you can.
Exactly.
You're 70 pounds soaking wet.
65, but
we
thanks
can't,
for giving me the extra 5.
We can't make rules based upon your body mass.
No, I'm not saying we make rules. What I'm saying it's disc golf. I'm all about protecting women's sports. Don't think that I'm not, but it's disc golf.
Yeah. Okay.
Like the least like physical sport that's out there.
See, I think your real problem is with disc golf.
No, I like disc golf.
Well, you play it.
Yeah, I like it.
But you're kind of degrading it.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, you just throw a frisbee in the direction of a.
Yeah.
It's fun. I play it. I'm not denying anything.
Yeah, and a dude probably on average can throw it harder than a female disc golf athlete.
Sure.
Yeah.
Either way.
Yeah.
That's my point. That's my controversial take. What are we going to have next?
That's hugely controversial.
I mean, what are we going to have? Esports?
I don't know.
I mean, esports is a real thing, but what are you going to do? Have co-ed esports?
In other news, speaking of controversy, Disney's Snow White continuing to tank. Every week it gets better. At the moment, ladies and gentlemen, their experiment in a DEI remake of the classic Walt Disney cartoon is on track to lose $115 million. According to the latest projections. That is a boatload of money even for Disney. According to Deadline, apparently the Disney movie, this remake, cost the studio $410 million. That's including $270 million in production costs, another $140 million to promote it, to try to make Rachel Ziegler palatable, which is the impossible task for any marketing team. But at the moment, IMDb, the popular internet rating website for movies and film and other forms of entertainment, has a 1.6 out of 10 rating for Snow White.
What about the Minecraft movie, though?
There's a Minecraft movie?
Yeah, it came out yesterday.
Oh, my nephews love that.
It came out Friday.
I wonder if they know about that.
Has
They
Jack
probably
Black.
do.
Jack Black.
Does it have Jack Black?
And yeah, he plays the main character. And Jason Momoa.
Oh, I saw a preview for that.
Yeah, it's a Minecraft movie.
I would go see that before I saw Snow White.
I mean, I saw Five Nights at Freddy's, and that was a good movie.
Yeah.
I didn't like it at first, but I had a change of heart.
Look, all you have to do is go back to what the producer's own son of Snow White said about Rachel Ziegler. Narcissism is not something to be coddled or encouraged. She's the face of the left that people are rejecting. All right, Dan, we're winding down here. We got to take one more break to make some money. Sad as it is to say, we're almost done. But we still have one more segment left to go tonight, and you know what that segment is. You're not going to want to miss this. Be back here for Twit Talk in a moment.
Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Kale and Company weekday mornings 6 till 10.
Alina Spees is with us in studio. You've been with TMF for quite some time. Tell us about that.
Someone who was working with TMF came through and he's like, hey, wait, you're a combat vet. Have you ever heard of Travis Manion? And I said, no. So he handed me over the book. I read it. My first presentation was to our Trooper Youth Week, which is our students coming over, getting a taste of what our academy is like, a taste of the New Jersey State Police, and I absolutely fell in love.
Don't get it wrong, folks. It's not Alina Spies. It's Alina Spees, or she'll kick your ass. Great stuff.
Thank you so much.
You got it.
Start your day with Kale and Company. Weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Spring is here. Don't let stiff or achy joints hold you back. Rescue Natural Supplements is proud to bring you Rescue Glyco Plus. This incredible supplement is specially formulated to support joint comfort and flexibility with a powerful blend of green lip muscle complex and UC2 collagens. This unique combination helps maintain healthy cartilage and provides smoother, more comfortable joint movement. Right now, Rescue Glyco Plus is buy one, get one free for anyone with our exclusive radio code. Just use the code RELIEF to double up your order for free. Again, that's RELIEF. Call today at 800-26-LIFE, 800-262-5483. Speak to a knowledgeable rescue product consultant. You can also use the code online when you visit res-q.com, res-q.com. Get back into action with less pain and more comfort. Again, use that code RELIEF to buy one, get one free on Rescue Glyco Plus.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular to get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
At California Psychics, we know that when you haven't found love, it feels like everyone else has. Every movie has a love interest. Every song is a love song. Where are all the songs about cats? Or the joy of early bedtimes? And of course, the PDA. Looking for love sucks. Thankfully, California Psychics can give you the guidance you need to help you find the one. We connect you with the very best. In fact, 98% of the psychics who apply to work with us don't make the grade. That's why we can guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. Download the app or connect with us at CaliforniaPsychics.com. Right now, new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. So you could be feeling all lovey-dovey real soon. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Free speech lives here with Kale and Company weekday mornings on Odyssey's #1 talk station, 1210 WPHT.
This is certainly not a complaint, but tonight has been a little bit more rockalicious than normal.
You think so?
I think you're feeling a little less mopey after going down to Nashville.
Is that what it is?
I think you had a good time. I think you exposed yourself to different music.
I was miserable this past 2 weeks.
You came back. You're your old lovable self.
I mean, dude, when you start on a trip and go to Orlando for a week and then have 2 days off, but not really 2 days off because you have to unload trucks. You have to work that Saturday, Sunday, and then get on a plane immediately the following Monday and then go to Nashville for a week. It's miserable.
You mean you didn't go to Harry Potter World and get a butterbeer while you were in Orlando?
No, Bella and I did that when we were in California. We went to Universal Hollywood, but
okay,
back-to-back trips is not fun. I had 2 days off. Not even off. I worked those 2 days, but going to Nashville. And then that show was just, it was miserable. So I'm good now. I'm at home. I'm home.
You're home, back with the lovely Bella.
For a little bit until the end of the month, and I got to go back to Chicago.
And then he's back to Chicago.
Yeah.
Bella, we got to have
Chirac.
we got to have you back on soon.
Next
Bella.
week.
Next week?
Yes.
Okay, because we were working on having Bella.
It was supposed to be today, but Steve came on, so we had to push her back to next week.
Yes. No, that's right. I think why couldn't we do next week with Fulop? There was a reason.
I don't know. I think he was unavailable.
Yeah. Oh, I know why. Duh. So Steve Fulop is Jewish, and it's Passover. So me being a Gentile, it innocently went completely over my head. So obviously we wanted to accommodate that. I can't believe it's Passover already, by the way. That's crazy.
Yeah, and then I don't know if we have a show Easter Sunday. Just giving you a heads up. I'm not here.
I'm not coming in on Easter Sunday.
So there you go. We have no show on Easter Sunday.
I was going to say, I'm not. I say this on all the major holidays. I love you all. I guess if Stocker puts a proverbial gun to my head, I'll have to make a decision one year. But no, I don't think anybody wants to hear from me on Easter Sunday.
Yeah, Easter Sunday and the following Sunday I will not be here because that's this Sunday that I'm in Chicago. I think that's the last Sunday of the month.
Yeah, so I think Easter Sunday we'll probably do a and I think I was going to say a Best of Matt Rooney show, but more than likely it'll just be
there is no such thing.
There is a thing.
That's because every show is the best, so it'd be just 3 hours long. There, yeah.
No, I think maybe we'll just have recordings of you singing gospel favorites.
We could do that. I could also just
the old rugged cross.
I could recite the script of the Ten Commandments.
Were you there when they crucified my Lord? We can do that on Easter Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Chris is saying 12:10 not taking calls today. Look, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like regular listeners of this program know Dan's a tyrant with the phones. He doesn't like to take the phone calls.
No, I said it earlier. I said it.
At least you didn't hang up on anybody today.
I apologize for that.
I know you did.
I said it a couple shows ago. I'm not a huge especially we're in the age of like streaming and visuals for radio shows.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a huge fan of phone calls as much anymore. If this was just an audio medium, then I'd be like, sure. But I would like to find a way that I will figure out to get people.
Yeah, you've had some ideas on this front.
Yeah, I would like to have a phone line through Zoom, so where if they call a Zoom, they can go through our streaming service or our streaming software, and then it pops up, and I can put them on.
How do you feel about that, Chris?
People might like that better. It gives everyone a chance to be on the show and be seen. I think the age of phone calls on radio is slowly, at least to me, it's dying just because everyone's going to streaming and people want to see people.
Well, we want the interactivity.
Right, and I think it's more interactive if you have the Zoom because, they can see us, we can see them. You can still hear, so I'm trying to figure out a way of how to do that. So I'll still take phone calls here and there, but, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah.
That's my spiel.
One little more gem for the evening, by the way, before we hop to the next thing. This is across the wire why we were on the radio, why we were on your radio dial this evening. According to the New York Post, okay, first son, or I should say former first son, thank God, Hunter Biden, got help from the Obama administration while repping Ukrainian energy company Burisma Holdings, which paid the younger Biden $1 million salary based on his political connections. That's according to a bombshell federal set of files published on Friday. The documents, which emerged 73 days after the Biden presidency ended, show that Biden, the younger, now 55, solicited and received commitments of State Department assistance for a Burisma geothermal subsidies work in Italy. Then U.S. Ambassador to Rome, John Phillips, who had received a letter from Hunter asking him for help, wrote to the then second son in July 2016 that he was designating a subordinate to help grease the wheels for Burisma. Grease the wheels. Which was seeking to firm up relations with then Tuscany regional president Enrico Rossi. Here's the letter. Dear Hunter, it seems like yesterday that you were in Rome. I hope this finds you well. Thank you for your letter. I know Enrico Rossi well and have a good working relationship with him. So even with the Bidens gone now for months, we are still peeling back additional layers of the corrupt onion. That's part of this larger corrupt international system that Donald Trump, as promised, is taking on. So look, the lefties that are upset that they lost the last election, I understand why some of them are in the streets. complaining, burning Teslas. I don't approve of it, right? But I'm not surprised by it. We actually expected it to be worse. I think they were stunned initially. What I don't get is some of you that are griping, right? Because this is what you voted for. I told you at the time of the election that this is a battle that we won. We did not win the war. So you have to be down for the length of this struggle if you really do want to save this country. Donald Trump winning in 2024 was not mission accomplished. No George Bush aircraft carrier photo op moment, right? It was giving us an opportunity, an opening to advocate for America first and begin to put this country back on the right track. But there's still a lot of work left to be done. So screw your courage to the post. Stop fretting out there and start advocating. Like, for example, as we've done tonight on this program, explain why the tariffs work, why they're a good idea, why they have a strong likelihood of not only succeeding, but putting us in a better economic position on the other side. Look, I'm in New Jersey. We got an election coming up much quicker than the rest of you do that are listening to this program. I certainly want these things to work quick, right? I have every interest in them working quickly, but have a little faith.
One of the questions that I didn't get to was going to be asked if Steve approved or liked Biden's tariffs. We didn't get to it. It was there. It was one of the questions. That was probably the next question I was going to ask too, since he's like, tariffs don't work. But then I was going to ask it since,
Well, it's the funny thing about radio. Like, Dan did a great job of clearing out a full hour for us to talk to Steve Fulop, and you would think that's a lot of time, and in a way it is. But there's still so many things that we didn't get to. We could have had him here for 3 hours, but other things to cover. Speaking of which, Daniel, as we reach the end of the program, we haven't had one of these in about a month now because you've been traveling. I think it's time for the most confusing, inexplicably popular, often controversial segments in all of mass media. What's it called?
Hey guys, gather round. Gather round.
It's Twit Talk time.
Oh, how I have missed thee.
No, you didn't.
You're right, I did not.
No, you didn't.
I did not. I'm fibbing.
You're such a liar.
I am.
Real
Famous
quick,
liar.
I have to change the camera into, I don't know what I'm doing. What am I doing? That's what I'm doing. Okay, I figured it out. We're good.
All right. Fine.
I do the 2-box. Got to do a 2-box. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Not at all.
Where do we want to start? I don't know.
Go for it.
Where do you want to start? You want to 1 through 8?
Well, it's been a while, so just hit us with the worst one.
Right, but it's
out
been
of
a
the
while,
gate.
so I'll let you choose.
Just smack us in
Anything
the face.
besides 7, because that's Theo Vaughn.
5.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
Okay.
It's a good one.
I instantly regret my decision.
It's springtime, right? It doesn't feel like it.
Doesn't feel like it, but it
doesn't
is.
feel like it.
It is.
But it is. Do you know the official sound of spring?
I do not.
Well, this TikTok is going to tell you what it is. Let's see.
Oh, you can hear the bees pollinating.
We got to run it back one more time?
Yeah, I think
All
so.
All right, we got it.
Yeah.
We got to run it back one more time.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
all right.
Oh, you can hear the bees pollinating.
Did you use your advanced production technology to be able to capture that?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, that's impressive.
I use my girl.
Nature, it's something else.
Lovely, love nature. All right, give me another number.
That's what it sounds like when Dan's pollinating. By the way, in case there's any confusion.
Give me another. It does.
Oh God. Ah!
Give me another number.
Got to gargle some grain alcohol. 3.
Good one. All right. You ever use a Dollar Tree?
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you use it for?
Oh, wait, are you talking have I ever visited a Dollar Tree?
Have you ever been to the Dollar Tree and or purchased something?
Yeah.
Not steal, because you steal a Tesla. But
right. Yeah, no, the last time I was in a Dollar Tree, I was probably getting like stuff for like a party.
Got it. Well,
they got a good cheap party stuff.
Yeah.
Napkins and things. Yeah.
Balloons.
Yeah.
This dad has got a different idea with his 2 kids.
Go for it.
So I'm cheap just because I bring my kids to Dollar Tree to get toys. You take your kids to Walmart, mine come to Dollar Tree, get 50 on them. How many toys you want, son?
What?
$1. How many toys you want, son? $2. We walking out the store with $3.
Guy's got it all figured out.
He's going to the Dollar Tree to get his kid some toys.
That's right. That's right. The somewhat equivalent to this is Five Below.
Five Below's getting pricey,
Yeah,
man.
but it's not really Five Below anymore. Just
It's
like the
like
dollar store stopped being the true dollar store.
It's like $10 and below now.
Yeah.
Five Below was good when it was actually $5.
My kids aren't always $10 good, you know.
Maybe like $3. Okay. Keep picking numbers.
This
is your segment. You tell me what to do.
Let's go back to the beginning.
Okay.
Let's go to 1.
Oh, that's a doozy. This is very Delco. This is
very Delco. We've been
know.
talking a lot of Jersey tonight. We didn't forget about you in Pennsylvania.
I don't know if this woman is Delco, but like
she says she is.
Her accent is. It's either Jersey or it's Delco, but I'm going to say Delco.
There's only a couple places on the planet she could have originated from.
Right. I'm not going to give you any context. I'm just going to let you figure it out.
Let it rip, baby.
Look, my niece's fiance, he quit smoking, but he carries a pack of cigs in his car. I so want to bum a cigarette. Look at that. Look at that. I want one so bad, and it's a Newport. If I smoked that Newport, I'd be stoned.
Yeah.
My cigarette as a Sig Mom was Salem Slim 100s. That was my go-to cigarette. But I wouldn't mind a Newport, you know. It's menthol. I'd smoke the hell out of that thing.
I don't know if that's Delco.
Yeah,
or if that's Jersey. I have no idea.
She's from Delaware County, Pennsylvania, or a West Effort, New Jersey. Like, there's only two
the
places
hell out
on
of
the
that thing,
planet where
you
you
know
can
what I mean?
find that beautiful. That is an accent.
Also smoked the hell out of those Newports.
All you ladies out there with your Delaware Valley O's, I love it. Oh no, get to the phone.
Yeah. Bum a cigarette, you know what I mean?
Stoned. That should be a hotkey.
Stoned.
Stoned.
I can make it work when I actually have time to do things. All right, we're just gonna go. We're gonna go down the line now. We're gonna go number 2.
Okay, cool.
This one, there's a lot of silence in it because I had to bleep out a lot. There's no like censor because I didn't have my software, so I just had to improvise.
Oh, is it you? Is it you bleeping?
No, it's literally just silence.
Oh,
Like,
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's a blip. I didn't have like a censor bleep, so that's what it is.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, we're not like a top 10 morning station or anything like that.
We're
you
just
know,
a Sunday show. We're just a weekend show.
We're broadcasting tonight from Wichita, Kansas.
We're just a weekend show that I just change everything. So,
yeah.
Do you know what an electrical circuit is?
Yes.
Okay, well, you're gonna enjoy this one.
Yo, check this out, guys. An electrical circuit. Electronics are sick. Holy shit. What does that do? Fuck. Shit.
Ben Franklin had a very similar reaction when he discovered electricity.
Yeah.
Yeah, little known fact.
Yeah, so I don't know why people post this on TikTok.
I don't. Well, they post it because
they know they're going to get on Matt Rooney's Twit
It
Talk
ends
time.
up on a radio show. Yeah, little known fact that now there are TikTokers that are specifically gunning to be on this program.
Hey, if you have TikToks, feel free to send them to me.
Now that we have a podcast, there should be a best of Twit Talk. Wouldn't that be something?
Don't tempt me.
Do it.
I'll do it.
You won't.
If we ever need a best
You
of
won't.
show, I'll just pull every single Twit Talk that we have.
Oh my God! Do we have enough time for a poll? That would be a poll, right? Would you listen to
together.
it? Yeah. Yes.
That's a good idea. That's a great idea.
See.
That's a fantastic idea.
Once a show.
Yeah.
A couple neurons fire in my brain, and I come up with something half worth it.
I found what I'm gonna be like in the next I don't know, maybe 25, 30 years. It's a look into my future. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm not going to tell you why, but you're going to figure out why. But this is me in the next 20 years. So I don't know if Bella still watches.
Future Dan.
Right. So she might be watching. She not, but just,
I'm like Doctor Who here going into the future.
Yeah, be prepared.
We're at Universal Studios, and it's 10:30 in the morning, and this is my third high noon pineapple. I should probably slow down. I'm not gonna, but I probably should.
I should probably slow down. Not gonna, but I probably should. Oh, you rebel.
10:30 in the morning for a high noon is crazy. 3 of them.
And for what it's worth, this is why you're missing the full Matt Rooney Show experience unless you're on YouTube, because you need to see this guy, right? He's got on like a
Hold on. I'll
We're at Universal Studios.
I'll play it again
It's
and then I'll
10:30
freeze
in the
it.
morning, and this is my third high noon pineapple. I should probably slow down. I'm not gonna, but I probably should.
He's got his like yellow and blue Ukraine tank top on.
Clear sunglasses.
Clear sunglasses.
Yeah.
Yeah. He is a sight to behold. Oh my God.
Can you see it? You think that's going to be me in 20 years?
I'm gonna. God, I hope not. I will have failed.
I haven't had a high noon in a
I will
while,
go.
dude.
I will go into the future and take you out Terminator style. If that's where you end
Oh,
up.
so you'll pull a JFK on me.
Bella will absolutely. Wait, what? JFK time travelers? Was that in the JFK files? Did I miss that?
Just how they took out JFK are going to take me out the same way. You know what I mean?
I may have three pineapple high noons though. Before I go back in time. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Are you back on the high noon train?
No, I haven't had one in a while. No, I haven't. There's just been other options out there. I'm just like, I've been in a
Chris over on YouTube, by the way, sorry to interrupt you. He goes, "Isn't that Cato Kalin?" Oh my God, it might be. It might be. Until somebody proves otherwise, that's Cato Kalin to me.
I don't know what his TikTok account is. I mean, I can look it up real quick.
Yeah, we'll investigate that. That's a top priority before the next program.
Josh Shapiro, Pennsylvania's governor, obviously went on some podcast. I don't know what the name of the podcast is, but he's trying to make himself. He's trying to do the whole Gavin Newsom thing, I think.
Yeah.
And someone asked Josh Shapiro about Trump, and this is what he had to say about the people of Congress on Trump.
Do you think they're scared of him? Like, what? Why would they,
Cheers. Yeah, there you go.
Like, or do you think they're just weak in their position?
I think they're weak. I think they're scared of him. He's sought political retribution against them, and I just think they're kind of weak. A lot of them are weak, spineless folks that don't really have core convictions, and he bullies them. And by the way, to be a grown-ass man or woman, run for Congress, win, and then say, okay, Mr. President, I'm going to give up my vote, right, which is my power, and let you just run things? Come on.
What was the point of it then?
Yeah. Why'd you go through that?
There you go. They're all spineless and they're scared of him. But he's not. He'll stand up to him.
Yeah, I mean, he's real profile and courage. Your own party, I mean, I think so much has happened, we're forgetting this. His own party didn't select him for vice president. I don't care what the reports are.
Yeah.
Out of anti-Semitism. And he's still just going along with the Democrat Party as if everything's fine.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. Like, take a stand, a real stand. But, unfortunately, that's politics, right? Sometimes being spineless pays off, at least in the short term.
Yeah. Did you know that calling things gay is actually back in?
That came back?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't realize that was part of the new regime. Okay. All right.
And I have it. I have the video to prove it.
Let's hear it.
Controversial take, but I can say this because I am unfortunately a little bit of a homosexual. Calling people and things gay is back in. I said it. If you don't like something, being like, ugh, no, it's gay, I don't like it. It's back in. And I think it's okay because I feel like the gays started it. Do you know what I mean? I feel like a gay guy has started calling things gay again and it's picked up. I can't help myself. My brother's acting like a weirdo. I'm like, stop acting gay. Meanwhile, I'm roaming around kissing boys. Do you know what I mean? But because his outfit's a bit
Oh, we know what you mean.
I don't know, sue me. Sue me for having a fucking sense of humour. Do you know what I mean? I don't find it offensive. I think anyone should say it. Unless, of course, you're actually homophobic. And if you are, then it's 2025.
Listen, a grown man should be able to enjoy 3 pineapple high noons.
And
use whatever vocabulary he wants.
There it is. It's
God bless America.
It's back in, coming from a homosexual himself.
Little like Theo Von twang there.
Speaking of Theo Von.
Last but never least.
Him and Candace Owens were on the same podcast, or Candace Owens was on his podcast.
Chris, by the way, Chris is on fire tonight. He's like, is everybody gay on all these TikToks that Dan picked up?
No, but I'm going to say they are because now that we have a theme, yes.
Yeah.
I didn't choose that way. I just picked the ones that I had saved from the past month.
Yeah.
Which there's a lot.
Theo straight.
Yeah. Anyway, this is him and Candace Owens on his podcast. Candace Owens, McDonald's order was.
I can't believe we have a Candace Gowan clips here. Okay, go ahead.
I need to know, what's your meal at McDonald's? I judge everybody by this, so be very careful.
Me, I do a double hamburger, which isn't on the menu, but you can get it
Yeah,
with
yeah,
pickles
yeah.
and ketchup.
Do you add any Big Mac sauce to that?
No, I don't know who's making it back there. It depends.
Okay.
If Big Mac himself is back there, I'll take a couple
That's an okay
ounces.
order. I mean, it's not fun, but like it's okay.
Yeah, it's kind of sad though. But I'll tell you this: I used to get 2 milks with it.
Milks?
Yeah.
What in the Theo Von
We
world?
ride here.
What?
Oh hell yeah, boy!
2 milks.
2 milks?
See me in the streets, you don't know me. I'm the T.I. of these orders, baby. Look at that little milk jug right there. And that's what they used to call my sister, little milk jug.
He's the only person that's ever. That's what we used to call my sister, Little Milk Jug.
Because she built like that. She built like that. Click on the third one right there.
Nobody in the history
There
of
you
McDonald's
go.
ever got the milk jug, but Theo Von. They kept that on the menu for Theo Von.
You can't order more than 2. That's the crazy thing.
What?
Yeah. That's a limit.
Because they only have like 10 because no one orders them.
It is
So if you order more than 2, they've been sitting in the freaking.
ride here.
That's why I stop it because we're running out of time. But he gets a double hamburger and 2 milks.
And 2 milks.
2 milks.
Throw a hot apple pie in there, and I'm with you.
Oh, see, I stopped it too early. But at the end of the clip, he said he used to get an apple pie, but then he was worried about his sugar intake. So then he
see.
stopped getting it.
He's a great man. Also capable of making Candace Owens almost likable, which is a feat unto itself. Oh, another program for the history books is now in the books. We'll be back next Sunday with more fun. Maybe Bella will join us.
Yep.
But until then, stay safe, stay sane, and keep fighting for this greatest nation in God's creation. It's worth it.
Down in May, but I know I'm gonna change that.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT. Walter Sterling.
It's not good to get fired. There are no lessons to be learned from getting fired or losing something that's important to you or getting evicted. You'll get stronger if you get poor, if you get evicted, if you need food stamps. No, you don't.